Hello and welcome back to Pact of the GM. Now, I have a little bit of a pre-show, if you will, for you this week, as unfortunately I made a bit of a mistake, and unfortunately I forgot to record the first hour or so of the show. Rest assured, however, you haven't missed very much, and the rest of the show is entirely recorded, so everything will be up, especially all the role-playing stuff will be there for you, but you do miss a little bit at the beginning. I can run you through very quickly what happened, though, because there wasn't a huge amount. We started off with a fight in this underground temple, cultist hideout, they're not really sure, between the party and some kind of eldritch abomination which had pulled itself up and out of this river of the damned. The fight was difficult. A number of the players got beaten around quite badly, but through the healing of Tank, Geronimo's small device, and with some very, very lucky rolls, I think there was something like 4, maybe 5 nat 20s. Honestly, I'm really sad we haven't got it, because just the energy from just how many times there were nat 20s rolled meant this thing had its hit points just chewed through by some really great hits. The fight kind of ended, and the party approached this archaic door, which had been held guardian by a long-lost spirit, which had set them this challenge as having been required to open itself, which it then did so, revealing within a pedestal where something had once been, something probably taken by the cultists, as well as a assortment of different images across the walls, showing 5 different very distinct figures awaiting the fall of something from the sky at 5 very distinct locations. I believe the party go through them with the recordings we do have, as Natara joined us late, and so they took some time to talk through with her in character, and so I believe we will be coming back just as they prepare to head up to land. So apologies again for the technical error on my part. It's been a long few weeks, but we shall endeavour to make sure it doesn't happen again, and I hope you enjoy the show. And we are back precisely where we left off, which was with the players a little bit confused and trying to figure their way out. But we return to the underground, the lair, which still drips with the blood of the enemy slain, as the 4 individuals present have at least thought out some of what they feel might face them in the future, based on the location from which an object of unknown power was taken by, they assume, the cultists. What do you guys want to do next?
I think... sorry. Darius will turn towards the others, sort of furrowing his big old ginger brow. Well, they've clearly taken the magical thing from here, but they don't explain, the finger cutting. Like, I'm not, gonna volunteer myself, but if anyone, does want to lose a finger, well, now's the time for
it. I don't think we're gonna be cutting off any fingers here, but it's quite clearly we've got all we can get from within this sanctum. It's clearly gone. We got to figure out what they've taken, though.
Well, it's probably some strange, all-powerful, sort of worshipping, summoning gods type of thing, but, we'll find it.
Let's head outside and catch up with Goggles and figure out what we're gonna do next.
All right, let's get her involved in this session.
The return is simple and easy enough. It's following back the route you had crossed before. I'm not going to make you roll to get across the river again. You can do so in exactly the same way you did before. Clambering back up the rope which you had pitoned the top of the sinkhole, Natara, you have been waiting outside with the Lord Derek and his handman, Rodolphus. For the most part, it's been very quiet. The place has remained pretty much safe. Every now and again, the small kobold has asked you to keep an eye out as he wanders off, and you hear the twang of his bow, and he comes back often with hares and small game. And in fact, as the party return, there is a kind of pile of his catches next to where he is sitting underneath a tree. There was one thing you did notice, however, Natara, whilst you were waiting above ground. In roughly the middle of when the party departed. A small drone, one of the metal contraptions that works the island, had come trundling up. Very out of place, you hadn't seen any at all before. This small, metallic, almost clockwork, kind of small, round figure, and trundling along on tracks, climbing up the ground, approached the Lord Darek and Rodolphus. They leant in very close, almost conspiratorially for a moment, and then the thing trundled off back the way it came. And nothing of this was mentioned to you as to what it might have been about. But before long, the party are hauling themselves back up the rope, out of the sinkhole from which they had descended to explore this ruin before. And guys, it's probably getting on for the middle of the day. It's not quite noon yet, as you pull yourselves up, over, and rejoin Natara on solid ground at a normal level.
It's sort of getting to the top and obviously helping the others get up. Derek sort of leans in, sort of a little bit conspiratorially, as he sort of bundles everyone sort of briefly together and goes, just before we do talk with them, they probably kept track of everyone who came and went here, and that bloody, well, whatever was taken relatively recently, so I wouldn't be surprised if either they know about it or, they're trying to hide something from us.
I was about to say, there was quite a lot of fingers severed down there, and some of them were quite recent.
Right, they bloody said that they've been here for, well, not generations, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they know a thing or two about this, so do you mind if I'm a bit, and he sort of cracks his knuckles, abrasive?
Maybe don't be too much. They are quite wealthy. I don't know if it might just end up being problems for us, but definitely don't worry about getting information out of them. Plus, I managed to steal some notes from his office the other night, so we can look through those. You could look through those if you like. They're in that dragon language again.
You stealing? I'm impressed.
Well, I mean, needs must and all that.
And he sort of smirks quite widely as he leans away, sort of trying to break the sort of conspiratorial huddle as he moves back towards the other three, waving his big old sort of meaty hand towards them. Oh, hello there!
The Lord Darek gives a little wave as well, before pointing at a pile of his hunted game. I did a little hunting while you were down there. Not exactly a huge amount, but a bit of fun. Struck a few of the buggers down cleanly. Look at that. And he gestures at some of the wounds, which seem to be very accurate shots around the neck.
Hey, you're a kobold. You're a very good shot. I thought you didn't have the best eyesight, but yeah, that's beside the point. Still, well, I don't know. Have you been down there personally before?
Down there, personally? No. As I said, they are locations and places that are taught to us as being belonging to the people before, but there's no reason to go down there.
Well, let's just say there's, we think you've had some visitors recently.
Yes, I believe, I can't remember which one of you it was. Perhaps your friend there with the wizarding hat. He mentioned something about some visitors from Varric, I believe. I can't say with any certainty who they were. Cultists, I think he said.
Yes, well, they came here on your island and they went down there and, well, it seems they've done some, well, let's just say there's some sort of, like, death stream, which, there's, like, spirits on the other side, and you gotta cross that, and then there's this big old spooky door which sent some, like, strange, spooky abomination after us, which we killed, and then, there's this room with all these different sort of god things in it, and, this pedestal, and, let's just say the center of it wasn't very dusty, like, someone had been there before us.
Well, I must admit, with our home on the southern end of the island, our views are somewhat obscured by the natural geography. If they were to land anywhere, really on the northern half, there's very little chance we would have seen them.
Aren't there little sort of, mechanical people things, roam these parts? Like, don't you know, like, have some sort of recording of what they do?
I'm afraid, as I was explaining before, they're something of an enigma in many ways. We have no recording, no surveillance with them. They have simple jobs and tasks, and we can give orders to some of them, but beyond that, nothing else.
When you say some of them, is that all, or is it only a few who listen?
Well, all of them listen, but some of them respond better to more broad orders to cohorts, whereas others work better with more specific orders. The age of the models seems that the newer models seem to work far better when we give them specific orders, to one or two of them at a time. But some of the older models really need to be given their orders in cohorts, otherwise they seem to become confused and don't perform very well.
I know you said you don't have many sort of, recollections or sort of memoirs of those before you, but is there a chance these sort of robot things were here before your lot came?
Our history shows that they were built by Angikovans, so I doubt it. However, he shrugs his shoulders slightly. I shan't pretend that everyone in my family has always been completely honest throughout all of their memoirs. Part of studying any kind of history is being able to pick out the fact from the fiction.
Yeah, well, let's just say you're seeing a lot of strange stuff on this island. I mean, as I said, you've literally got some sort of strange portal to some death realm in there. I mean, do you have any other sort of runes scattered about?
As mentioned, sites like the one we read before, with the totem or the stone. Not many of those. However, sets of doors, places like this, one or two, though they are more, I suppose, hilltop ruins. Not very much to them. Mostly just a few stones stacked up together. This is the only one that appears to be any kind of underground complex.
Right. Well, thank you, I guess. It's just, we're a little bit worried. It's, well, the sort of stuff, they got done walls down there. It's a bit, let's just say it's not very reassuring as, the state of the world and all that. Do you lot have anything to ask? He says, sort of throwing a hand out towards the others.
Geronimo shrugs. You pretty much asked all the questions that I had.
A river of death, you say?
Hey, it's like a river, but it's glowing. And Geronimo went down and he died or something.
He died.
It wasn't good. That's the main thing. I went in there and then I looked at my body. My body was a whole skeleton. And then I went all in there and then my whole body was a skeleton. And when I came out, I felt real drained. I don't think I could lift things as well.
Seems like an illusion and something else. Did you check what kind of magic it was?
It ain't an illusion. It wasn't. It didn't feel so good. But no, we didn't check any kind of magic.
I mean, we could go back down and check, but I don't think it really matters. Still, there were these 6 different sort of figures. It seemed to sort of be coming down from the sky. It is some sort of depiction, of course. Brandon, can you show him?
Of course. And he'll take out the stone rubbings and hand him over.
He's got obviously the large tree. He sort of says, pointing to each of them, rather not rudely, but rather quickly, bashfully almost. He sort of goes from one to the other. You got some big old tree. You got well, the one who people get angry when you say his name. Also point to the tentacled one. Some strange worm with 5 heads. I mean, we've found some statuette of that elsewhere. Obviously, whatever this is, we think some sort of elf god. And, well, some bloody old man. Do any of these sort of ring a bell to you?
I'd say they represent different planes. The tree often represent our world. And that one, she points to the one with the scepter and the scythe. The elf there. It's a goddess? No?
I mean, that's what Geronimo said. I mean, I don't think this is a metaphor. I think these things are actually real.
Aye, but even if they're real, they could come from different planes.
Well, I mean, that
and
one.
This one. She points towards the one who shouldn't be named. The one that starts with a U. That's on a different plane, isn't it, as well? Because it's sleeping. And celestial beings and gods are normally on different planes. These are representing... Yes, this is definitely representing different planes and different creatures on said planes of significance. Yes.
Seems a bit... I don't know, like we're grasping there.
What is the first thing that came to mind?
Well, either way, the big U man, he's, you look at it, he's on some sort of island, with a big old peak. Now, we looked at the map and he sort of pulls it out again, which either means, he's appearing here, it's either, where we are now, but you don't really have a peak, more of a hill, or it's, sort of between Badgerton and Houndford.
The world is bigger than these little islands, though. It's probably outside.
I'm sorry, but we've been chasing his cultists around the entire time. I mean, they wouldn't be bloody on the other side of a different continent somewhere if he was around there. He's clearly here somewhere.
I mean, I will say this one thing that does kind of support Gaggle's theory, right? We know that one of them is the representation of that elven goddess. Well, that ain't going to be around here, right? That's going to be where the elves live.
Aye.
Where would Geronimo know whereabouts elves tended to live?
There isn't a place they tend to live. They, as communities, have mostly broken up across, at least from your understanding of Midden Fair. We've mostly broken up to join a lot of the more cosmopolitan areas, despite still coming off as quite superior to other races. Elves in general have intermeshed with other species and races very quickly, and generally stick to very cosmopolitan and mixed areas, if they can help it.
Yeah. Well, now that I think about it, the elves are kind of interspersed, but they went into sort of those, kind of like city places. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just think that maybe it's not all over this sort of archipelago. But what we do know for a fact,
I doubt that.
What we do know for a fact is that someone down there was taken out of here. So we need to figure out where to go next before. Well, we need more clues before we can figure out the whole puzzle, right?
How were they located, down there? Which came first, second, middle, and so on and so forth?
It's all around. I mean, we walked into a little room.
It was, hang on, just quickly to add to that, because that is a fair question. It was organised around you, but if you were reading from left to right, in case this is of any importance to you, they would have read, let me just have notes. Ulcral was first, or the eye was first. The feminine figure was second. The old humanoid was third. The worm was fourth. And the tree was fifth. Obviously, whether that's important or not is up to you to decide, but there was an order to them, if that helps.
Geronimo will answer Natara's question by saying exactly that there was an order, and that was the way that it came.
Perfect. I don't know how you got it so perfectly spot on.
Of course, because Geronimo's got keen mind.
That feat is coming in surprisingly useful.
It is a very useful feat.
It's a bullshit.
Especially when
it's a bullshit feat that makes me remember your notes for you, and I hate it.
No. The best thing about it is that I can pretend Geronimo's really dumb, and then at some point he goes, "Oh yeah, I remember this."
Yeah. By the way, here's a really obscure fact from a session 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, Alex, please come on. I'm kidding. Forgive me. Anyway.
So there was an order to them. Normally, the tree representing the world would be in the middle. If it's on the bottom, it could be like...
Look,
no, I definitely think my theory is right.
Look, either way, it doesn't matter if they're there physically or not, but that's where, they apparently landed, whatever, came from the sky. So if, this you fella did land, in between Badgerton and Hanford, I mean, you saw what it was like there, they tried to make a city or a town or something, and, it just didn't happen. It's clearly there's something dodgy going on. I mean, both those people hate each other for apparently null and void reasons. It's stupid.
Myths and legends normally come for a reason. They're not made up from parents trying to scare their children. There's always facts and truths that come from the stories. And they did have one about... What did they call it?
Hmm.
No bloody clue. No bloody clue.
What story?
The festival, the tide thing, wasn't it?
Oh, what do you mean in Storia?
Aye.
They did. Alex,
Keen mind activate.
keen
Yep.
mind activate.
As if to bring it up, yes, there was the Festival of the Tides, which was brought up right the way back in Storia. Just told you, which is a festival where the citizens of Storia would go down to the beach and throw rocks at the ocean. They weren't sure how it had started. Some of them thought it was because they were trying to punish some kind of sea god for sinking part of the town. Others thought it was a ritual to stop the sea god from taking any more of the town, and others just thought it was a kind of community activity that had started a while ago, but it had become something of a kind of yearly festival to go down, throw rocks at the water, and have a bit of a celebration about it.
Okay. Yeah, Geronimo kind of looks to the group and goes, "Yeah, I do sort of remember that back in Storia when we were considering what was going on and we're talking about this festival. It's called the Festival of Tides. There's multiple theories about why it started, from maybe punishing some old god to, they weren't really sure why it started. But I mean, there may be a chance that the reason why they're throwing stuff into the sea is because maybe that's what actually happened all those years ago."
Aye.
Either way, we're clutching our straws now.
No,
All we
no,
need
no,
to do
no,
is
no, no,
think
no,
of
no,
a
no, no,
plan
no,
of
no,
action.
no. We're not clutching at straws.
No, me. We need to
Be
talk about what we're
quiet.
doing next.
Shh, 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 shh. Okay, so the people that killed the whatever its name was that I've now forgotten, they were chanting tide. Obviously, all of this is connected, aye? So maybe the whole stone thing was to keep you away. Keep him down there.
Hey, but down there isn't a bloody island with a mountain in the middle of it.
Maybe. Well, there can be mountains under the sea. You know that, right?
Yeah, there can't be bloody islands, though, can there?
No. Because what do you mean you can't be bloody islands?
Yeah, there aren't islands underneath the sea. Look, I'm a dwarf, I know.
No,
I'm an
there
inland
is
man, but even
islands.
I know that.
There is islands underneath the sea. How do you think islands are made?
Well, I'm sorry, but
Technically, they're not islands when they're
Well,
under the sea,
technically
but
not. But if the sea
I
rose,
see you accusing me.
if the sea rose, said island could be underneath the sea.
I'm sorry, and this isn't, clutching at straws. Look,
It's not
we need to-
clutching at straws because the sea creature bloody sank the library.
I'm
Hence,
sorry, but
the
maybe
sea
that's
rose.
a
It
different
could have
sea
sank
creature.
the island. Why won't you just see the logic right in front of you? Why do you refuse this, Durgus?
Because there isn't logic. You're just saying stuff. You weren't even down there. Look, I was going to ask what we're going to do next, because we either need to go confront the ghost woman or we need to go find this peak. Now, if you say that peak's underneath the water, then I'm sorry, but we're not going to bloody find it. So I say we
Why
go to
won't
New
we
Haven
find it?
first, deal with the bloody ghost, and then we go to Badgeston and Houndford, go to the peak there. And, if for some reason, there's nothing there, we have a bit of a nudge around, it's fine. We'll go into the middle of the ocean and find our bloody underwater island, and then we'll go find him there.
Whilst this is happening, you are being just stared at by the kobold, Lord Darrick. Mouth slightly agape, as he just seems to be trying to firstly keep up with what you're saying, but also comprehend the context of what you're saying. As you get more and more animated, he just looks at Rodolphus, and you briefly just overhear him clearly making very, simple small talk, as if trying not to be in the conversation. You say, Rodolphus, when we get back, maybe we should take all of this and bring it down to the kitchen, and just, really, really pathetic small talk like that, clearly to just avoid joining the conversation.
Brandon is going to quickly make his way over to the two of them and go, would you mind showing me the way back ahead of them? They can catch up, don't worry. Durgus is quite a good findy person. Let's go.
Geronimo is going to step in between Durgus and the Tara and blow the biggest raspberries he's ever heard. He's just going to go like that, right in their face. until they look at
didn't
them.
I
hear
need the
that. We didn't
actual
hear that,
vision.
but-
No, we didn't hear anything.
Oh,
We
did you?
need to-
Okay, well, just imagine him doing.
No, I
like
need
a-
to actually hear it.
It's more of a.
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah. No. It's more like a
Oh,
kind of
so
noise,
okay.
like that.
That's
He makes
more
that-
of like a dodgy fart than a raspberry.
Yeah.
Well, that's whatever. He
what is
blows some
this?
sort of farty raspberry noise, and just waits for you guys to look at him.
Are you
I
okay,
mean-
Geronimo?
Yeah, I'm good. We're gonna head off now.
Okay, do you agree we need to go to New Haven next?
That I think that probably what we need to do is get a good night's sleep and decide in the morning. What's the time now?
By the time of this argument, it's noon. Like it was before noon when you got up. It's
I
noon now.
stand by what I
It's
said.
noon now. That was
Brandon in the background
a
is just like, yeah, let's do that.
that was a
Yeah,
good
and-
half an hour of arguing.
Yeah, Geronimo nods. He realizes it's noon. He's not changing his answer. He just looks at the two of them.
I said what I said.
Hey, it's unfortunately wrong. So let's return to the ship. Give our thanks to Mr. Ango Dugan.
Anger Dugan.
Uh,
Fucking hell.
It may be a little. He sort of leans in towards the two of them now, like not even caring to listening. Maybe a little dodgy, the whole sort of strange robots and the fact that these things go missing you don't notice. But it's fine. It's fine. Maybe just set sail in the morning. Well, if not morning now. I mean, I'm ready to go whenever.
Yeah, well, the main thing is we got to make sure that he gets back in one piece because he's old, and also I've got to not get married.
I'm sorry.
Why not?
Sorry, what?
He
Oh,
says this quietly,
there's
so Brandon would not hear this. Being
Brandon-
quiet.
Brandon-
No, I have no idea.
Don't worry, Brandon. There's a little conversation for you to have in a minute, but I'll let them finish first.
there's a girl that really likes him.
Yeah, so though I don't particularly want to get married, so let's make sure Mr. Lord Anjakoven gets back.
Why
Old
not?
Old
She'd
Bones
be
get back.
Good wife.
No, I'm sorry, but can gnomes and kobolds even copulate? I mean, they lay eggs, right?
I don't know, but all
Yeah.
I'm saying is that I'm very powerful in all means. So
Hobbles lay eggs.
But they're blooded lizard people, so I assume so.
would we know, Alex, if kobolds
do.
lay eggs?
Kobolds indeed lay eggs.
Okay, damn. Well, Jono looks between them and goes, well, do they lay eggs?
Oh, I don't know.
But I've not seen it, but they're lizard folk, and lizards lay eggs.
Well, to be fair, that I need to make sure that I've got someone that I can, continue the prestigious fizzle bang line onwards, and I don't think I can really do that if they lay eggs.
You really
so-
want scaly children?
I mean, I don't care.
Assuming they
I'll love
could
them.
have children. I mean, if they lay eggs, gnomes don't. I don't think they can.
Right, and he sort of claps his hands together quite loudly with a. I'm going to cut this conversation here because we're going to be here forever if need be. Let's escort Mr. Nice Posh Man down, back to his manor. You just stay away from, the strange egg woman. We'll say our goodbyes, give our thanks, and, unless he has anything else of us, I stay we leave.
Because she's a lord, so she's a lady. She's got a lot of money, doesn't she?
Yeah, but I don't particularly want to steal her money. I want to get my own money, and then I can open the best pastry shop the world has ever seen.
Well,
Yeah, but if you
whilst
had
this
her-
conversation of kobold anatomy and how exactly you might be able to marry the money out of the Anjakovins, Brannon, you have kind of been walking ahead with the Lord Darek Anjakovin, who is followed closely behind by Rodolphus, who is not nearly as tired or exhausted from hauling around the equipment as he was before, though he's already set himself up for another long trek. As you're wandering along, Lord Darek looks over to you. Your friends were having a mighty strange conversation.
Yes, they get a bit animated, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry about that.
Yes, perhaps the word friend was a little too strong. They don't seem to like each other.
They do. Well, maybe respect is the better way of putting it. Likes a
Didn't even seem to respect each other, but you choose your travelling companions. Speaking of companions, I've been led to understand we have a new guest at the house.
Oh,
Yes, one of the drones came up to see me whilst you were exploring, spelunking, or whatever it was you were doing. Apparently they arrived not too long after we left.
Oh, who is it?
Another hunter, I'm
If you
told.
don't mind.
I didn't get a name, but I was told another hunter had arrived, apparently to use our house as a lodge of sorts. Apparently there was some kind of beast they tracked to stories around the island, some kind of great white stag.
Brandon's going to go a little pale and go, do you have a description of this hunter? Maybe something he was wearing or using?
I'm afraid not. Only the note that was brought up by one of the drones. There's a few of them that can provide a basic messaging service, though they're very slow. Survivable, though.
Oh, well, good to know. Excuse me for just a moment. I'm just going to go discuss with my friends what we're going to do. Obviously, we've got some things to sort out. But
Of course,
I'll be
of course.
along shortly.
I'll lead the way, and Rodolphus, and as he turns around, he waves his cane at Rodolphus. A little bit of a quicker march, shall we? And with that, he kind of sets off his kind of wobbly gait, speeding up ever so slightly. It seems a little bit dangerous, and Rodolphus looks at you with this very tired expression, as if you're like, wow, now I have to make sure he doesn't break his neck. But they speed up a little bit while you slow down to rejoin the party, who are busy in the midst of deciding how Geronimo might be able to steal the money from one of the ladies.
Geronimo?
Yeah, Hexy, what's up?
You might not want to go back to the mansion, as
why
it
is that?
seems a hunter friend might be waiting there for you.
Excuse me.
Reginald B.
I
what's
don't
his
know for
name?
sure. I don't know for sure, but I mean, he's
here?
there's apparently a hunter who's a guest who's hunting his great stag. He does with quotation marks. Now, I could be just overthinking things, but that sounds like the kind of phrasing he would use to describe you.
No, that would be unfortunate phrasing because I am neither tall nor do I have horns.
No, but he was a little bit theatrical, as I remember.
That's true.
White stag is very rare, so it could be just that he's hunting a very rare type of prey. AKA
So-
no.
Let's be bloody honest. Look, we're being chased by this man who wants Geronimo, and let's be honest, we're on a rather remote island with some areas which apparently they don't watch over. We could just, lead him out, say towards Geronimo, pull the old, and he sort of goes to like grab his hand axe, sort of jingling it in his hands, letting
Please.
his sort of edge shine.
Dargus, there's no way we can kill him.
Why?
I've
He's
got
a
another.
man.
I've got another option if you like.
I mean, what's that?
Well, you go back to the ship, get it ready. Me, Durgus, and Natara go back down with Baron. I will pretend to be you, and when he realizes my ruse, which I will drop before he kills
Yeah.
me, yes, then hopefully we can get back to the ship with you safely on it.
Or we can just say we dropped you overboard. I mean, you can be annoying at times.
That doesn't sound realistic. You clearly all love me, and he'd know that.
Or, maybe say we left you in Farrick to deal with some important business. I mean, that's a bit more realistic, surely.
No, to tell you the truth, if it is Reginald, then I know right now he's probably sitting down in that study talking to Drissa, and Drissa's all like, "Oh, look at me! I'm got a lovely wife that I'm husband that I'm eventually going to sit down with."
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
up in the
just stop with the
cloud.
impressions. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll stop now.
Well, maybe then if you can, sort of change your form, Brandon, you just turn into another gnome, not like Geronimo, we call you like, I don't know, Biggles or something. And, we go in, we say we picked you up as like some sort of recruit, because Geronimo had to unfortunately step out due to starting his own pastry business after we hit some good money. And, Geronimo, you go to the ship, maybe go with,
I'll come
Baron.
with him.
I want you to stay here because you're actually part of the session. Maybe go there with Baron, and then just hide out. Be careful. Go beneath deck, and hopefully he hasn't left any mines or traps for you.
That I got a better idea because I don't think
We really have to decide soon, though.
No, I really don't think I really think he's way more intelligent, way more dangerous than we're giving him credit for. So my suggestion would be that we head back, and then before we get back, I sneak off towards the ship. You go double check if it's him. I hide out on the ship if he's if it is him, then we flee. And if it isn't him, then we're okay. And then I come back. Does that make sense?
Basically what I said, just know Brandon turns into a gnome as well. Which, to be fair, I just want to see for humor's sake.
I mean, he could also turn into me, so it don't matter.
I could turn into you if you like.
Aye, but he may just kill you.
I think he's too much of a, as I said, theatrical sort to just off me from the shadows. He did say he'd want to make sport out of it.
You know what? Let's leave it up to you if you want to be, you know, big old Astronomer or Brandon. And well, myself, Natara, and you, we go in, you know, Astronomer and Buddy, Brandon, Baron, you know, go back to the ship. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Come on, let's go.
Just quickly, how big is Geronimo?
I'm small.
You know, as in like feet height.
Oh.
3'5" probably.
Did I write this down? I'm fairly sure I did. Do I have attributes, features, biography? Can't remember if I wrote this down. I think he's probably like
Gnomes are between
3
three.
feet.
I'll say gnomes are between 3 and 4. So 3 is a short gnome. 4 is a very tall gnome.
Well, let's say
Okay,
3 foot
I'm gonna because I can only go a foot shorter, so I'm gonna look like a very tall Geronimo.
Use reduce on you as well.
Oh yeah, how tall's Brandon? We could do like
Brandon's like 6 foot.
Okay, so we could reduce you, and then you could like change your thing to slightly increase your size to whatever Geronimo is.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
We are so good.
But
But also,
actually, Galaxy Brain. This is where it's a random hunter, and we're doing all of this for nothing.
I don't know.
But also-
I'd never bait you like that, would I?
yeah, that is 100% the thing you would do. I think, anyway, Geronimo kind of looks at the others and goes, I'm sure there's some way we can sort of make you look like me, but maybe I suggest we do it when we're closer to.
Yes, it would only last about an hour, so I don't want to do it now.
Okay, let's get back then. I'm ready to diddly go.
That was an incredibly cringy way to sign off. However, we shall follow along with it as you diddly go.
Literally Ned Flanders.
I know.
Hope we don't get copyrighted.
No.
Matt groaning immediately calls us up. Hello, police. The descent down from the kind of peak back towards the home of the Angekovans is a little bit faster, though it does still require some camping, and so you do spend, even with half a day of travelling, it does require you to pull up for the night, make camp on the side of kind of the rolling hills back down towards the beach and the house where you are beached. You may all have a long rest, so I'll do that obviously for Baron as well.
Oh yeah. Hello?
Hello.
That's fine, yeah, sorry, I was just doing Baron stuff and making sure that was all working. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was done so that when Jared comes back, everything's in order. The night passes without problems. The Lord Angekovan once again shares his drink, though he looks very smug when he suggests that he might not play Liar's Dice with you again.
Oh, come on, you only won by bloody luck towards the end.
Sounds like you want to get good.
It's good.
Won me on Rust Scrub.
The following morning, you begin the last kind of travels down across Langland, returning to the more agrarian paddocks and fields that make up the estates of the Angekovans, which surround the great Gothic house from which they live. As you're getting closer to the house, coming onto the paths that have actually been built and set up that meander through the small holdings and agrarian sections of the island, What exactly do you want to do? What is your plan here, then, as you're approaching the Andrikovan household again?
I think the plan is that Geronimo is going to sneak towards the docks, I think, and wait for the others to check the house, just in case it is Reginald.
Okay, so you're just sneaking off.
Yeah, Geronimo's going to sneak.
Give me a stealth check.
Oh, come on, baby.
My hands
Give me-
together for you.
Where's... Oh, I need my cloak of Elvenkind. Ha, ha, ha. Ha.
Got that?
No, but I can actually make that at some point.
Oh, nice.
So just FYI.
Oh,
18?
It's the good one.
That's the good one.
18's a pretty good one. Let me check some passive perceptions.
The drones have a passive 20 perception.
Passive perception 30. Nothing escapes their lack of eyes.
Warning, intruder alert.
You duck your head and immediately dive off down past one of the hedgerows. And you do so very quietly, despite the kind of oversized backpack and your now reduced strength. Lord Darrick and Rodolphus don't even turn as you go, and the rest of you can smile almost contentedly, seeing as his disappearance has appeared to have been unnoticed. Geronimo, you begin to take a more circuitous route around the outside of the house. This means obviously your journey back down to the docks will take longer, whilst the others can walk quite directly straight up to the house. Returning, 3 kobold daughters are waiting by the back door. Drissa gives a little wave when she spots you, and then there's a pause when the daughters kind of count you all returning. There is a moment where Drissa's eyes go wide, and then she stifles a sob before turning towards the door and rushing inside, quite theatrically. The Lord Darrick looks very confused to his daughters for a moment, turns to look at all of you, and then frowns. Where did your gnome friend go? Toast.
He's been hunted by a killer, and we may think the hunter, who you said was here, may be that kind of man.
Aye. Wait, he's hunted by a killer?
It's, let's just say he's done some bad business in the past, and there's some people who may or may not want him dead. He should be fine. He should be fine. I mean, look, he's not around your household. He's back at the boat. He's back at the boat. Who is the fella? Have you met him already?
The Lord Darrick turns to his daughters, and Dramina steps forward. The individual present is a hunter by the name of Reginald D. Martins. Said he came looking for a great stag.
Here, the great stag is Geronimo. That's bad. He'll kill him. If you see him, he'll kill him.
There's a
You know-
pause as they look towards Durgus. But you said because Geronimo did something bad?
Oh
Well,
no, like
he
he did the right thing. Yeah, let's just say there's some gnomes back in Gnome Town or whatever, who may or may not have tried to use his invention for a very bad cause. So he took his invention.
They
and took
wanted
it
to
away.
steal it and murder people. and
I'm
Geronimo
telling the
said no.
story here, all right?
I'm just helping you tell it.
Even when they're helping each other, they're antagonistic. What is this?
And you know, so he tried to stop them from using it for malicious means. Unfortunately, they didn't like that, so they've sent some people after him to try and get it back. This Reginald fella, let's just say he's one of them. Has he been polite at all so far? He says, sort of peering now towards the daughters more than
Yes.
the Lord man.
This would be Drissa. Yes. Sorry. Dara. Sorry. Yes, he's been very polite. He took some food in his room. Been very quiet and coming down each morning, I believe. He's also been up to the roof and looking out. Spent some time down the docks. I don't think he's there now.
You don't think he's not inside now?
He's not inside, but I don't think he went to the docks. He went out.
Geronimo's alone.
He went out to the east, I think. We had some paddocks over that way.
Aye, well, I know this may seem a little criminal, but has he left anything in this room?
We wouldn't know. We don't go searching through our guests' things. Same way we didn't go searching through yours.
You know, I can completely understand that. But, you know, he is a bit of a bounty hunter who may or may not be wanting to kill one of our friends. You know, Geronimo, he sort of peers towards the daughters now, trying to gauge which is the one with the crush.
That would be Drissa, who went inside when Geronimo didn't return. She's not there anymore.
And he sort of leans back, and he, obviously not being able to gauge from their expressions, he goes, "Which one's the one which had a bloody crush on him?"
Drissa is indoors. She
Yes.
clearly saw the lack of Geronimo and assumed the worst. You were out on a hunt, after all.
Let's just say he may be dead if this Rechinard things. You know, I assume you don't want your daughter to be upset.
Lord Darrick shakes his head slowly, but he is eyeing you all up very cautiously.
No, of course, if you don't want us to, you know, try and protect our friend, that's fine. We'll just leave straight away, 'cause that's probably the best thing we can do. But, you know, if you would let us have a look through his things, we'd be very appreciative.
The daughters look to their father. Give me a persuasion check.
I need to stop talking and let let Brandon do these things, but it's fine. Because I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm of my heart. No. Every time I say this, it goes horribly wrong. Every time.
That's a 7. There's a pause before a nod of the head, as if resolved. We will not be letting you search through his things. What my daughters say are true. He has been a model guest, and we will treat him the same respects and courtesies we have treated you.
Look, let's... ignoring the somewhat strange request of my crewmate, do you accept that there's some bad blood, at least, between our crew and this gentleman?
I accept that perhaps there will be some kind of conflict if you run into each other. And
Okay,
that I perhaps
then...
do not want that inside my house. You are welcome to leave. We shan't stop you.
Would it be possible if you could distract him?
I don't think we'll be doing that.
May I ask why?
Because I believe I intend to bar our doors after you leave.
Oh, trust me, he is in no way trying to hurt you. He's a bounty hunter, and frankly, he wouldn't even be hurting us. It's just his one mark.
When we first met him, he was actually really polite and sat down, gave us a drink, explained why he wanted to kill Geronimo, and then gave him a head start.
Wanted to give Geronimo some
chance.
chance. Yes, exactly.
Sounds like a model professional bounty hunter.
Exactly.
We aren't going to get into his way. He's doing his job.
And therefore, would it be not correct to offer him all the services of your household and the tour, and aid him as much as you can in finding where you think Geronimo is?
No. It would be to let him get on with his job. Uninhibited, but also unaided.
Look, we're not getting away with this. Let's just bloody leave. Hey, thank you, Mr. And he sort of extends his hand towards Darrick. Mr. Or Lord Darrick Angercovid, and your fine-looking daughters. I'm sorry if it's had to sort of end this way, but unfortunately, let's say cultist hunting doesn't exactly...
The kobold holds up his hand to stop you talking, before shaking yours. Not to worry, you were lovely guests. It was wonderful to have you. Thank you for my hunt. I apologize that we shan't be offering you any help with this matter, but given that you've admitted that there's some legalese involved, and that this is a bounty hunter, it is better for my family and our position that we simply don't get involved at all.
Fine. Let's just leave him to it. He's right. There's nothing else we can really convince him to do. He owes us nothing. Let's go.
And I think Durgus at that quite quickly tries to jog off. being faster than a walk.
Jog off, mate.
Yeah, jog off, mate.
That is in fact what a jog would be, faster than a walk. Okay.
Yeah, Brandon's going to quickly make his way to the ship.
So you guys are basically running your way around to the ship, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Geronimo, you make your way around the side of the house. It takes a little bit of time. It takes some finagling through bushes and past trees. You end up a little bit mucky, and sometimes you're crawling on your hands and knees, doing your best to remain out of sight. But you manage to meander your way down towards where the dock is. The dock is pretty much as inactive as it was when you arrived. There are a couple of drones waiting quite patiently, seemingly in their kind of stations. And the ship sits exactly where you left it. You can see the shape of Rolt on the top deck. He seems to be adjusting one of the sails, which he looks to have been kind of just making some very brief repairs on. From what you can see, there is no sign of anybody else around.
Okay. Geronimo's not going to go into the ship, mostly because he's worried that there's a chance that Reginald may be there. And because he's alone, what he's going to do is he's just going to wait in the most hidey place he can find near him, or probably just stay where he is, actually, for the others to come back to let him know whether or not it is actually Reginald or not.
Okay, absolutely fine. I don't require any other checks for that then. Eventually, you notice the party emerging from the house, moving fairly quickly, led by, I believe, Durgus, who said he was at a jog, as they make their way as quick as they can down towards the jetties. From your position, whilst obviously not a vantage point above the action, you do have a clear line of sight out on most of this kind of bay area. And as the party are about halfway down the dirt track that leads to the jetty, you look off to the left, towards the east, and you catch sight of a fairly large figure, still quite some distance, very rapidly making their way over a field, seemingly on a trajectory to try and intercept your friends.
Oh, shit. Do they notice this? Do they seem to notice it?
Guys, give me a perception check, all of you. So that would be Natara, Durgus, and Brannon.
Oh, that's persuasion. Fuck.
I'll take the roll, but tell me what your modifier is.
It's a nat 20, so my modifier is a +6, so that'd be 26.
26, 24, and a 2. As you guys are running, Brannon, you're kind of focused on getting down towards the dock. Natara and Durgus, you obviously heard the news that Reginald had travelled off to the east towards some paddocks, and it's like casting a glance just quickly over one shoulder just to see if there's anything out there, and you do also see the figure, though I will jump back to Geronimo, who obviously is the one performing the action right now, but Natara and Durgus, you will be aware when we jump back to you. So, Geronimo, you definitely see this figure. You can see it's a large figure. You have no idea who it could be, but you also see it clearly on an intercept with your friends along the path.
And how far away from my friends am I?
Probably about 90 to 120 feet. They're about halfway down the path.
Okay, and then Reginald is really far away in the distance, coming towards the jetty, yeah?
Yeah. He's probably closer to about 200 feet.
Okay, so what Geronimo is going to do is, utilizing engineering mathematics, all right? He is going to pick a spot that he thinks Reginald is going to go to, or at least this figure is going to go to, all right, between him and his friends. So if he was to join his friends now in a kind of caravan thing, he would intercept and go down that way. What he's going to do is, using the 60 feet of movement, he is going to utilize a spell slot and gripping onto his thingamajiggy to cast Grease.
So hang on, so...
It's a 60 feet, I think it's 60 feet.
So it's got a 60 foot range.
Yeah, so he's going to put it at the furthest range possible. So he's going to sneak closer towards where his friends are.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to put it on the other side of them in a sort of 10 feet cube sort of towards where he would
Okay.
imagine
Yeah.
the figure's intercepting, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm with you now. Okay, so you're going to do that. Party, larger group. What are you doing? As I mentioned, Natara and Durgus, you can see this figure off to the east. You know that there's someone over there, and they seem to be moving on an intercept course with you very quickly. Their distance is greater than yours, but they are moving with a speed that is far higher than yours.
I know I can't see him, but just so I do know for when I eventually get pointed him out, how far away in feet would you say he is?
As I mentioned, from you guys, perhaps 180 to 200.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So what do you guys want to do? How are you acting? There's a person who's clearly trying to intercept you. You're on your way down towards the jetty. You haven't seen Geronimo yet because he is sneaking.
No, okay. Well, Natara's going to stop and go, crap, there he is. Look over there.
Skidding to a stop, Brandon's going to look over and kind of peel his eyes shut a little bit. Oh, shit! Maybe we should get a move on quickly.
What do we do? What do we do? He's gonna catch us. He's gonna stop us if we keep moving this way.
Well, Geronimo isn't here, so is it a problem?
Well, no, but we can't go to the ship then.
I mean, is Geronimo at the ship? Let's just... How about we just talk to the man? He was very polite, and he has no bounty on us.
All right.
To be clear, Brandon said he skidded to a stop. So Natara, if you're having this conversation with him, did you also come to a stop?
She did stop. She did.
Okay, that's fine. Is Durgus stopped as well, or is Durgus AFK? No, he'd be right back a second. No, that's fine. No, he's AFK for a second, so we'll come to Durgus when Jensen gets back. So you guys come to a stop. So Geronimo, for you sneak a little bit closer. The others don't seem to have noticed you. But before they get to within that 60 feet of you, or maybe just on the edge of that 60 feet where you'd basically be dumping the grease on them, they come to a stop, and it appears that Natara and Brandon are having some conversation.
All right, Geronimo will not
Grease them.
utilize. Yeah, not grease them then. How do I stop that then? Have I used? I hope I haven't used it.
Give yourself the spell slot back if you need to.
Okay, yeah. Okay, he won't use it then. He'll just stop, kind of like trying to figure out what they're going to do. He's going to back off a little bit as well.
Okay, so a little bit further back down the jetty.
Yeah, further back down and kind of just try and hide as to the best of his ability.
Okay, so you're going to stay hidden. I will let you roll to stealth again. However, I will take the better of whatever options you have. So either your previous option, or if you roll a better option now, that's fine. Because you already are hidden. This is you trying to improve how hidden you are.
Okay.
So I wouldn't argue that you could really make the situation too much worse.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean that would make it.
specifically 18.
Yeah, then that one would make it a lot worse. But I'll let you take your last one because you were still hidden. Okay. So, Natara, you and Brandon come to a stop. We shall assume Durgus does, probably to turn and yell some expletives in Dwarvish, which only seems to draw the attention of the figure, who rapidly begins to cover the distance between you and themselves. And coming into shape quite clearly is the image of Reginald.
Brandon is going to stop, turn towards him, and actually give like a polite wave, trying to portray that he is not going to fight.
Okay. As he gets closer and closer, his large, muscular figure becomes very obvious. The furs and the leathers around his body flapping ever so slightly in almost the wind that he creates by the speed of his movement. You can't tell just by looking, but it's almost as if he is imbued with some magic that seems to be just propelling him forwards at a far greater rate than should be possible. He launches himself over the last fence that runs parallel either side of the path, hits the dirt with a roll, springs straight back up, and lands in front of the three of you, arms at his hips, as he seems to be breathing fairly heavily. He's clearly exerted some energy, but he seems to be almost just warming up at this point as a few beads of sweat form on the top of his brow. He gives a polite grin, tips his head in a little bow. Hello.
Hello, Reginald. How are you keeping?
Very well, thank you. It's good to see you all, but you're one short, it seems.
Yes, we've separated. You'll find him probably still somewhere on the island. I couldn't tell you where, though.
Didn't go on the hunt with you.
No, he did. But you see, he took quite a liking to one of the Lord's daughters, and so they've been chatting.
Wasn't that
Yes,
your name?
Drissa,
Like-
that was it.
Ah, yes, I met Drissa. A lovely young thing. She certainly seemed enamored by the gnome.
Apparently, it was mutual. So he wanted to stay behind, and he was hoping you would follow us. But frankly, I don't really want to get involved.
So he's up there in the house right now, then.
I couldn't say for certain.
We
Possibly.
don't know. He did go to find her.
Roll me a deception check.
Oh,
I don't need a help.
19,
You carry
20
on.
and a
A
19.
nat 20, a 25.
Oh my god, Brannon has saved my life. Holy shit.
Reginald eyes you carefully for a moment. I'm actually going to need to roll his insight.
No.
Yeah.
Nat 1, go on. Back to the gym.
His insight also follows the rules. He gives you a wary look before peering over his shoulder towards the ship. I see. Then I suppose I should be looking for my quarry up in the house. He gives a little sniff. Are you intending to sail immediately?
I'm not sure. Do we know what our plans are, Natara?
We have to discuss this further with Durgus.
Yes,
Who I'm assuming is running off at this point. So,
he's a little quiet, it seems, but if you still have time to discuss it, would you mind awfully if I ask you to wait just a little while? Not too long.
no,
Discuss.
we can wait a few hours. If you're checking up the house, come meet us back here, and we'll still be here.
Oh, I wouldn't-
Aye. What did you want to discuss, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't even need you to wait a few hours. It's just if he's not up in the house, I want to check the ship before you leave.
Oh,
Of course.
Excellent. Good to talk to you all again.
Good to talk to you.
Hi.
Good luck on your hunt. And Brandon's going to quickly make his way off.
Let's see you're in good health.
He gives a little nod of his head, a little bow as you walk off, and he lets you go on your merry way. He watches you go for a few seconds before lowering himself into kind of a crouch, turning, and very nimbly and silently climbing up the path towards the doors you've just come from.
Oh my fucking god. This guy's a nightmare. Holy shit.
Tara just looks at Brandon.
He terrifies me.
Run!
As soon as he turns, and just as he leaves eyeshot, Brandon's going into a full fucking sprint straight to the boat.
Literally as well, Tara too.
What a fucking idiot!
Geronimo.
Is that yelled out, is it?
No,
Okay.
It is
That's
not.
That's breathy. That's breathy
Okay.
and to his buds.
Okay.
Underneath his breath, like mumbling.
Says behind the mask.
and it was in heavy dwarvish accent, so no one understood anyway.
She spoke
Nice
that in
reference,
Dwarven,
Alex.
Yeah.
That was your monologue internally. Okay. Okay, so you peg it down the path, and Geronimo, you watch as the figure had approached your friends, becoming recognizably Reginald. Before he stopped, seemed to engage in polite conversation, and then, like a panther, was up the track straight towards the entrance to the Anjakovan house. Your friends seem to let him go briefly, and then they run down towards you.
Okay, Geronimo is gonna wait until they're close, and then he's gonna scuffle out and start pacing it himself with them. It's like, oh my god, he's so scary.
Get on the boat, get on the boat.
Oh,
Brandon, just
sniff you.
Douglas, get on the wheel. Just you drop the anchor.
He go down to the ship after he's been to the house. Get the fucking ship and go.
And then you gotta bring the anchor up. Don't drop the anchor. Bring the anchor up.
Okay, as this chaotic attempt to leave the island begins, it is a flurry of activity. Rolt, who was standing on the top deck, tries to give you a greeting, but as you just begin screaming these things you need to do to leave, he seems to get the picture that you want to leave very quickly, and in earnest joins in to help you as quickly as he can.
Oh, sorry.
Everybody give me... Well, say your thing first.
Geronimo wants to check the shit for traps.
Okay, so can everyone who is helping to disembark, or not disembark, but to dock the ship away, please give me wisdom checks or strength checks, dealer's choice. Geronimo, if you are exploring the ship,
Strength.
yeah, if you are exploring the ship, could I please have an investigation?
21.
That's a very good check.
Can you roll Baron as well for us?
Of course, I can roll Baron for you. I'm going to assume he's doing strength. Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
I rolled a 15 investigation.
15.
16, not bad
Okay.
wisdom for me.
So we have a 10 for. Wait, sorry. We have a 21 for Natara, a 10 for Durgus, a 15 for Geronimo. Baron rolled a 13, and Brannon a 16. Okay.
It's going to high average.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a worrying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
I could do my job. Don't tell me how to GM.
I'm not. I'm just scared.
Yeah, okay. You guys work fairly quickly. You are not yet seasoned professional sailors. You haven't spent years on the sea. However, you guys have done this a few times, and you're pretty good at it. The slowest kind of portion of the job is actually waiting for the drones to do some of the jobs that normally dock hands would be doing. But around this, you begin to get the sails into position, you begin to raise the anchor, you begin to set yourselves up on the wheel. Everything is getting ready for a very quick departure. You're just kind of waiting for those last few jobs and bits to fall into place so that you don't accidentally take a gust of wind and slam back into the jetty or something. Geronimo, as you make your way around the ship, you begin checking in some of the regular places, looking for anything that seems out of the ordinary. At first, nothing seems apparent. However, as you get into your own quarters, the captain's quarters that you share with Durgus, you do notice, because you spend a lot of time staring at that bunk bed, you do notice that the bed appears to have been moved slightly. It is slightly further out and away from the wall than it was before.
Oh, damn. Can I check what's...
Yeah, of course. You'll stick a hand behind there? What do you want to do?
Geronimo is going to... Fuck. Let me think. Sticking a hand down there is not a good idea.
Can we quote that? Can we clip that?
Okay, what do I have inventory wise? Okay, I have a crowbar.
Okay.
Geronimo is going to use the crowbar to ease the bed back a little bit, just enough so he can kind of see what's there behind it.
Yeah,
Doesn't want
absolutely.
to disturb anything.
No, absolutely, and I think that's a really good use of the tool. So, using the crowbar to kind of lever it without using your actual arm, you manage to move the bed slightly further. At first, nothing seems out of place. However, there is a glint of light coming from one of the lanterns set up in your cabin, off of a small, what looks to be dark metallic disc that has been wedged into one of the pieces of wood at the very back of the bunk bed. It doesn't appear to be a trap that you've seen before. It hasn't got any kind of nasty claws that might bite down on you. There doesn't appear to be large enough to do any kind of explosive. It just appears to be a small metallic, almost think CD-ROM sized disc, and about as flat as well. It just doesn't have the hole in the middle.
Okay. What can tank do? No, tank's not very useful. And tank isn't programmed to do that. Basically, what I had in mind was deploying tank to pick up the disc and carry it.
Tank lacks opposable thumbs
Yeah, I
and
don't think tank can
appendages.
do it.
He has legs and a gun.
Damn, if only I could further engineer tank more. This damn artificer subclass. Why hasn't he got more? Okay, so Geronimo now is going to use... Okay, this is what I'm going to do. He's going to use the hammer that he has in his... Oh, actually, hold on. Hand axe. That's £2. Okay, because it's got length. How feasible would it be for it's light as well? Okay, so he'll be used one hand axe in his left hand and the crowbar in the other, and he's going to try and like pincer the device.
Okay.
You say it's wedged?
Yeah, it's not like jammed into the wood, but like I mentioned before, the design of the bunk bed isn't particularly professional. You did it at a rush and on a moving ship, and so there are sections where the wood doesn't quite sit together properly, and it's in those kind of gaps where it's just been kind of pushed in slightly so that it stays solidly, but it's not like it's been hammered with a nail or anything. You could get it out with a little bit of wiggling.
Okay. So he's going to use it with the hand axe and the crowbar, and he's going to like wiggle it out, and he's going to try and lift it out with the two of them like a pincer, and slowly back outside the door to the others.
Okay, give me a dexterity check.
Just like a flat
straight dexterity. If you have sleight of hand, I'll take a sleight of hand.
I do have sleight of hand.
Then you can take it with that. So that would be with your proficiency as well. A 9?
That's a 9.
It takes a little bit of wiggling. And you're not using particularly useful tools. These things aren't really designed for pincering small CD-ROM sized discs.
True.
You manage to get it unwedged, and you're kind of pulling it out, and then the edge of it catches on the bed. And
It's going to destroy the bed.
There is a glimmer as the thing kind of moves between the two items, and as you kind of pinch down harder to adjust for that, it ends up slipping. And there is a moment of horror as that disc drops towards the deck. And as it hits the deck, nothing happens. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
It's a tracking device. It has to be.
No, it doesn't matter. Geronimo's going to try and pick it up again with the...
Yeah, absolutely fine. It's not wedged in there now. You can kind of scoop it up and...
Okay, he scoops it up, and he's going to... Oh, damn, I was so worried it was going to explode the bed. I put so much effort into it. He says under his breath. And he's going to, again, kind of pincer it and lead it out of the captain's quarters to the others.
Okay. As you emerge onto the deck, the ship is just setting off. The last ropes have been thrown in. The ship is now beginning to pull away from the island. You're beginning to catch the wind and starting to pick up speed. And for those of you who were on the deck the entire time, you can look back and you can see the form of Reginald standing at the door to the house next to a very small, what you assume is a kobold form. The kobold form seems to raise an arm or move its side slightly, as if pointing towards you. And there is just a burst of speed as Reginald makes down for the end of the dock.
Uh-oh.
He covers the 200 to 220 feet in about 15 seconds.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck you, he's not a man, it's a fucking raptor or something.
This is so scary. I can't handle it. Fuck.
And he gets to the edge of the dock. He pauses at the edge of the dock, and as that time has passed, you guys have obviously continued to move further away. The distance between you and the dock is now about 100 feet. So he's still about 100 feet away in the water's distance. And as he gets there, you watch as he drops and takes out this oversized longbow made of ornate wood, almost seemingly to balance it or brace himself down on one knee. As he draws a lance-like arrow from his back, pulls it back, fires. Now I'm going to roll his attack, but this is not against any of your ACs.
Is he trying to fucking javelin the boat or something?
Yeah, he
Isn't that
is.
literally a harpoon?
Yep.
The arrow flies out straight and true. And it is at the last moment you watch as the kind of shaft of the arrow suddenly ignites. It hits into the kind of back railing of the ship, and the ship bows downwards, pushing the prow right the way up as there is an explosion. I'm going to assume Durgus was at the wheel, since that was the assumption.
Oh, fuck.
Who was at the wheel? Was it Durgus?
Yeah, Durgus. Yeah.
Durgus
Okay,
would be-
Durgus, I need you to give me a dexterity saving throw.
Dexterity.
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck, this is like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Why I haven't rolled above 10 since that 20? I fucking.
It's 12. It's a 12. It's not terrible.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I got 12. 12's good, right? 12's good.
No,
12 is 2 above average.
Exactly.
Okay. I am going to need you. Use the right dice. I'm going to need you to take 48 fire damage.
What the fuck?
Oh my fucking
Jesus
God.
Christ!
There is no way we could have fought this guy. Holy fuck.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Well, Durgus is just fucking. He's not dead, but he's fucking. Oh my god. Okay.
Are you down?
He's down. Yeah. No.
Okay.
He's gone.
Okay, so
No.
the
Sorry. Was it 30 or 48?
48.
Oh yeah. No. He's fucked.
Yeah, so the arrow hits the back of the ship, and there is this explosion that just covers the kind of that top deck where the wheel sits. Durgus is thrown forwards and over the wheel, hitting the wood, rolling in just this charred and smoggy just ash that kicks off of him, as almost immediately you can see the open wounds and burn marks all across his flesh where it has just gone straight through his armor. The back of the ship very quickly begins to catch alight. It is still mostly contained to the back railings and kind of the very top rear end of the ship, but the wood has caught really quickly. Though following this shot, Reginald seems to have stopped doing anything and is watching you.
How far away is he?
He would be now about 130-ish feet.
Okay.
At this point, with you still rolling out, because obviously the ship wouldn't stop with this, especially in fact the impact would probably push you a little further.
Brandon's going to run to the back of the ship and make sure we're not sinking.
Natara is going to shout like, "Get the fire out! I'll take care of Durgus. I'll take care of Durgus." And she's going to run over to him and get out her medicine kit.
Okay. So your medicine kitting. Fire, Brandon. You just staring. You just like, are we sinking?
So I'm first just checking. Is there any like holes in the ship? That
Okay,
could let
that's
on
fine. You're
water?
checking that, and Geronimo, you are doing like you've got this thing still kind of pincered. This has just happened, probably throwing you off. You might still have it, but it's obviously completely thrown you around the deck. What do you want to do?
Geronimo's gonna chuck it overboard. Fuck it, let's go in.
Straight overboard. Okay, yep, easy enough. That's just over it goes. You just open the pincers. That's no check whatsoever. I'll allow that as like a free action, if you will, so
Okay,
you
yeah,
can
it's a
still
free-
do something.
Fuck.
Where you running to? What you checking? What you doing?
Geronimo wants to deal with the fire itself, so he is going to look for. He is going to look for a bucket.
Water reservoir on the ship.
Do we?
Should be there. Otherwise, how are we going to get fresh water?
There is fresh water below deck. Yes.
There's fresh water below deck. Okay. Geronimo is going to get a bucket and hemp and rope. No, he's just going to get a bucket and get some of the fresh water and go to put the fire out.
Okay. So, Natara, you rush towards, obviously, the prone form of Durgus, who is currently, smouldering away.
Dead.
I assume you're using the healing kit to stabilize him, because if he's
Yes.
gone down, that means he's making death saving throws.
Yes,
Perfect. Okay,
stabilize.
so you are using the healing kit, so you can make a medicine check for me. And this is obviously it's standard because you're using the kit, and this will use one charge of the kit. 21's fantastic. You've dealt with burns before. Durgus is obviously in a bad way, and if left unattended, this could become very serious. However, immediately you jump into action. You start applying salves to the wounds. You begin bandaging and coating the more open wounds to avoid them getting any kind of infection. You check him very quickly, as best you can without pressing onto the injuries, for any kind of broken bones or fractured anythings that might be piercing organs. But you quickly come to the conclusion that whilst Durgus is going to be very, very, very sore, and he's going to be bright red as soon as this skin grows back, he is not in a position where he looks like he will expire. You are pretty sure that his life is safe. Brannon, can you give me a perception check with advantage, please?
Okay. 16.
16's pretty good. You get to the back of the ship. Obviously, you have to kind of cover your face and your eyes because there is smoke beginning to come off of the fire that has caught at the back of the ship. However, a brief look down and over seems to suggest that firstly, the impact of the arrow was towards the top of the ship, not low down where the waterline is. The explosion itself seemed to be more a force that pushed the ship rather than broke wood, and that the fire really was the main danger to the ship right now, and that was still contained to the higher levels. You are pretty sure that there is nothing taking on water below deck, at least from what you can tell at the moment. From behind you, there is then the pattering of footsteps as Geronimo throws himself next to you with a big bucket of water, and I assume just kind of throws it over the nearest fire there is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. No check necessary, you can just throw the water over that, and there is that kind of satisfying hissing sound as a load of the fire is immediately put out. Yeah, exactly. Revealing the kind of charred wood underneath. It did okay, but there is a fair amount of fire here for what one bucket would do. You just running backwards and forwards on your own is not going to put this out very effectively.
Brandon's going to grab the bucket off Geronimo and using Mage Hand dump it into the seawater so it's a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. That works. Okay, so you're collecting water with Mage Hand. Are you just keeping the bucket for yourself, or...?
He'll just immediately, with Mage Hand, dump it straight onto the fire again and repeat.
Geronimo, your bucket's been taken. It's now being used to use seawater to douse flames where possible. What's your next?
Geronimo's going to use his hempen rope that he's got on him, go find another bucket, tie it to, like, part of the bucket, and then dip it into the sea, bring it up, and
same
dump it
thing
in that
with
way.
the hempen rope. Okay, so you're coming back to do that. Natara, you have stabilized Geronimo, though obviously he's still sprawled out on the deck. What would you like to do?
Natara, she would like to heal him.
Actually heal him, go for it. What are you healing him with?
We are going to use Cure Wounds at
Go for it.
second level.
Some good dice rolls. 11's alright. So, you can have 11 hit points, Durgus. As you regain your consciousness, your body is very, very painful. Even the breeze of the sea air causes your skin to sting. Your eyes are stiff, you are exhausted, and everything feels really, really hot, but you are conscious. However, I will require from you a 2d6 roll, please, Durgus.
Oof.
That was really impressive when you did that command roll. A 9. Oh, everyone loves rolling 9s. That's a damaged eardrum. Your hearing is impaired. You are deaf in one ear. For now, it's a minor injury that can be healed.
That kind of makes sense, though, with the sort of explosion.
With the explosion,
with the bang, yeah.
With the explosion, yeah. So, Durgus, you are coming to again, though the hearing in one ear is not good.
What's the disadvantage of that again?
With deafened?
Mechanically.
Mechanically, I'm just going to double check that one, but I
In one ear.
believe essentially it's the condition of being deafened. So, for example, if any perception checks, disadvantage, because you can't hear.
Oh.
It's more specific if it's about hearing. Beyond that, there's not a huge number. Thinking about it,
Just
I need to go and check my actual GM guide book thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
But slowly over time, with the healing provided to Durgus, and with the far quicker work of taking up seawater and dumping it on the flames, you are able to put out the fire. By the time you finish, you can tell that the fire has burned and charred some of the wood, but you guys reacted quickly enough to save the real strength of the ship. It's not going to look pretty, but the ship itself is very much secure. There still doesn't seem to be any holes or damage that you're taking on water. And Durgus, as I mentioned, is coming too.
Yeah, I think he'd groan and grunt as obviously he comes sort of by, peering up towards Natara through very hot and I imagine bloodshot eyes. What in the bloody... Did he...
I shot an explosive arrows at the ship and it hit you.
Bloody explosives?
Explosives, he shot the ship.
Are we sinking?
No, we're not sinking. We're not sinking.
Oh,
I think they got the fire out.
Just someone just tie a rope around my waist. I need to go for a dunk in the sea.
No. You're covered up with salves and bandages. What you need is a bed, but not with any sheets on. We don't want them sticking to your wounds and grow into the skin.
I think I'm still burning.
Yeah, you've been burned all over. You were technically dead.
Oh yeah.
Kind of.
Look, is he still coming after us? He says he sort of tries to get up, and sort of hobbles his way
Not
over
what I
towards the
can
back of the
see.
ship.
No,
He stopped doing anything.
no, certainly for all of you, and Natara's absolutely right. You can still see the figure standing on the end of the jetty. In fact, as you move over to look out, very faintly, you can see kind of one side of the figure come up and then wave from side to side, as if he's waving towards you, in the same way that Brannon waved towards him.
I think Durgus is, because I imagine flipping the birds a bit not canon, is going to, you know, do that thing where you sort of like put your hand on your upper arm and you raise your forearm and like shake it, you know, that sort of old timey
Like shake your fist, like fuck
yeah.
Damn
shake his
you,
fist.
you
He's gonna shake
kids!
his, he's gonna shake his
From my
fist back
arm.
towards him. Ah, bloody wazzock. Oh, right. Well,
It's a
we
good
have
thing
to
we didn't fight him because
Well, we have to try and kill him next time. I mean, he's hurt my bloody ship now. You don't understand, like, these sort of this level of grudge making. This man's gonna die. And well, if I don't kill him, then my bloody child will have to.
Phew.
Bless you.
bless you.
Sorry, I didn't mute myself for that.
That's
Whoops.
alright. With such an adorable sneeze from Durgus, Geronimo, at the notion of holding a grudge, I think we can take our second break here. We're taking it a little bit later than normal,
sure.
but I thought that was some excitement for us to keep going through. So we'll take our second break here, we can go get other drinks, and then we'll come back for the last run through until the end.
Cool.
Perfect. Okay, we'll be back in uno momento. Hello and welcome back. We are jumping back in for the last portion of our session. As I said, we ran a little bit over with our kind of mid-section, if you will. That's because there were lots of exciting things going off. So, the attack on the ship appears over. The fire has been seen to and has now abated. Durgus, I believe, was being carried down to a hammock, or no, to his bunk bed without sheets.
Yes.
Things have settled down. Perhaps sitting in the captain's cabin then, with poor Durgus laying out on his bed, you guys can come up with a plan as to what you would like to do next. The ship has sailed away from Langland. You are on a general course back towards the kind of middle of the area you have mapped. You know, no specific place, destination in mind, but generally moving closer to everything. Ship continues to turn. It's probably just past noon. What to do?
Is the fire like fully out now and everything?
Yep, firewood. You guys got the fire out fairly quickly. Working the way you did, you were pretty effective at that. So you are now gathered together in the captain's cabin, so that Durgus can begin to get some rest. Coming up with some kind of plan as to where you are headed next, because obviously there was a lot of talk that we had on stream about what you guys thought of everything you discovered. A lot of talk off stream, but now we need, in character, Lee, a plan on where you're headed next and what your plans are going to be. Partly because that's entertaining roleplay, partly because that helps me as a GM.
Brannon will kind of grab a bit of the rations he's had hidden to one side, set up a little picnic on the deck, dragging everyone over next to Durgus so he doesn't have to move too much. And well, what are we gonna do then?
I think it's pretty simple. Make our way to New Haven, find this Aurelio Spine fella, deal with that, I don't know if we have to take him back to, end the, threat of Marleone, but, if she can sort of throw herself across continents and islands, I don't want to anchor anymore. So we do that, then, I think then we make our way back to Houndfoot and Badgerton. Explore the sort of strange peak they've got there, maybe find this, Okrol's temple or something. And, hopefully, we do have him there.
That sounds like a plan. We do have one problem, though, in that we now definitely have our hunter friend on our tail. Remind me, was there any other boats at the docks?
Was that at Langland Dock?
At Langland Dock, yeah.
There was no other ships. You didn't specifically look, however, there was only kind of one jetty with obviously a space either side, and you were the only ship there.
And he didn't mention how how the hunter got there, did he?
No.
Chances are he probably got the traveling thing over from Farrick, so we might be okay for now, but maybe it'd be an idea in future if we don't use the main docks until we've dealt with him.
Aye. I mean, unless he could turn into a sea creature like I can.
I wouldn't be surprised by the way bloody chased after us. And the explosion, was that from a bow?
It looked like it. His arrow seemed to catch fire halfway through the air.
Yeah, it was quite a show. Quite impressive.
Sure, this man's a bounty hunter, not some sort of divine punishment.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, but that's the details we have.
Geronimo, did you ever urinate or defecate on some sort of shrine?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Especially to this sort of, he's an elf, right?
He's a half elf. Geronimo, using your feet against you, you will recall after you escaped the sunken library, toppling a statue.
What would I remember about that?
Just that when you escaped the sunken library, you toppled and broke what looked to be some kind of holy statue.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see that I do remember that when we tried to escape that sunken library, we did push open a sort of a sacred statue that did fall and breaking stuff, but I don't think that's the reason why Reginald is after me. So,
You know, he could just be under some sort of guise.
but I did find something behind our bed though.
You did? And he
Yeah.
quickly sort of scrambles up.
It was a sort of this sort of round black disc. Yeah, but I threw it overboard because the ship exploded.
Well, you know, it may have been some sort of clue left by some mysterious benefactor or a trap. You know, and probably more of the latter. It's probably for the best.
It probably definitely a trap. I did not see it before when we arrived, so.
Well, still, I take it you all agree with the New Haven then Antwoord Bastion plan. You know, we won't use, you know, the more public ports. We'll try to find other areas.
Aye, no public ports. It doesn't seem to be a great idea because you'd be being able to follow our trail. Well, here. We've been all over the place.
Obviously, Durgus being the man behind the wheel for a bit, would he know roughly how long it would take for them to get to New Haven?
I mean, given those distances, you're looking at maybe 6 days.
Well, he's got 6 days-ish. And he sort of crumples out the map again and just like double checks. Well, at least bits of this. So I guess we've got time to kill. Brandon, you're still alright, you know, teaching me to read? Well, you know, fast at least.
Of course, I can teach you. Would you mind we do it while I do some work? I've got to make some scrolls.
Oh, no, it's fine.
In fact, actually, I could probably use them to help you read.
Alright, you know what? Maybe I'll learn some magic in the meanwhile. Truth be told, I've been meaning to set up my, any sort of, where actually, are we on the deck or in the captain's cabin?
Captain's cabin. You've been allowed to go back under the deck under the medical advice of Natara to get some rest.
And he sort of rolls back over and dusts off a few pieces of tubes and things, a few sort of not I won't say decanters, but there's clearly some sort of heating agent. Well, I brought my old sort of brewing stuff with me. I mean, you know, don't really have much to brew right now, but if we're low on water, you know, always heat up some seawater. It'd just be good to, you know, get these things going again. Speaking of which, have you lot found any, you know, sort of like strange liquids while out there?
I mean, I've been collecting every strange liquid we've come across, but what do you mean?
You know, even you could try drinking it, or, you know, distilling it, doing something with it.
No, don't drink strange liquids.
Oh, you know, I could become a bit of an alchemist. I mean, these things aren't far from, you know, sort of the potion-y types, right?
Look, I think you at least need the supplies before you start doing it.
Why don't you let me dabble in the alchemy bits? You know, I'm the one with the plants and the herbs and.
Why do you have to try and undermine me at every single turn? You know,
Undermining, but Natara pats all the vials of strange liquids on her belt. Kind of got a bit of experience in it.
You know, why didn't you mention it before?
It was obvious, but you know, all the vials and stuff on my belt.
Well, you know, vials don't mean you make them. You know, just buy them. Oh, I mean, I drink a lot of beer, but you know, I've not really mentioned my brewing stuff before.
Oh no, we'd have to get our hands on an alchemist kit. These I made back at the labs at the Shade.
Oh, whatever. But we'll be able to find those in New Haven. But well, I guess I'll do some decoration to pass the time. You know, learn to read. You know, just help where I can. I don't know how long this will take to heal, but I mean, it still bloody stings.
And I'm going to spend the time making the captain's quarters, everything look better. Definitely, I've gained many skills over our time period. I feel I can do a better job now.
On like a non-role playing note, what happened to the massive ferret?
Oh, you mean Wadger?
Yeah.
Wadger's still below deck. You would have passed him. He probably doesn't have a pen, but there'll be like a section of like the lower deck where the storage area is, where he kind of has had a nest of sorts put together. So he's probably got like an empty box filled with some hay and stuff. Yeah, you passed him. He seemed in good enough health, chirpy enough. Wadger's still there.
Why don't you get to work on befriending your weasel fella?
Yeah, I'll work. I mean, it's only going to take. Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Goggles.
I was going to say the large mouse, badger, whatever it is.
He's a. I'm fairly sure he's some sort of giant weasel. But what I will do is I will spend some time on the voyage, working on the captain's quarters, and then I'm going to go spend some time with my buddy old pal Wadger. That should pass the time.
I mean, you're free to use my brewing stuff if you want that, Tara, to heat stuff up, I don't know what you have, but if you wanted to try and make some alchemy things, then we could, try.
I don't know. I got some acid, and she starts looking through her vials. I got some fish scales and some seaweed and some jellyfish stingers and some slime, and well, I got all sorts of things.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. And Brandon's going to take out an ink pot with some water in it and goes, in the dungeon where we went to find the drawings, we found a river that you definitely didn't want to go in, but I managed to get a sample if you were interested.
Oh, I very interested. A sample.
It seems like normal water to me now, but I didn't want to drink it to test, so be careful. It did royally bugger up Geronimo when he dived in it, so do be careful.
Oh no! Look! Pass it there. He sort of gestures. I'm sort of leaning up from his bed to try and grab it if need be.
Don't drop it. I'd like to get our hands on an alchemy kit, and we could identify it and analyze it.
Well, you look after it. What were you saying, Durgus?
I said Durgus. He was trying to sort of take the vial.
Oh,
He wants to look at it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll hand it over to Durgus.
Yeah, and he quickly sort of holds it noticeably away from the lot as he sort of pops off the cork, dips a finger in, and quickly tries to taste test it.
Oh my god!
Oh, for fuck's sake!
You want to give it a taste test?
Yeah.
It's the iridescent water.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. There is a gritty texture that runs down your throat. Definitely a liquid. It has that flavorless sense of water, but that is ruined by whatever this nasty, dirty, gritty, irony stuff is that kind of sticks to your throat and your tongue. As clearly this water has some kind of substrate in it that just makes it taste awful. However, it certainly isn't blue, it's not glowing, and it doesn't carry any seemingly toxic immediate tendencies. It tastes like really nasty, dirty underground water.
Hey, well, you've got yourself a vial full of cave water there.
Don't fucking drink it. Are you mad?
I'm sorry, but we're sort of.
He fell in and he almost died, and you're drinking it.
I mean, I didn't understand half of those words, but we dwarves are naturally resistant to some of these things, I mean, the amount of things we drink, it's some sort of natural compulsion. We've got tolerance over the years. Yeah, she just sort of hands it back. It's just water.
I was going to put it on her belt.
It wasn't water when I was in there. I assure you, Captain, it ain't good. You might want to flush your bowels at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably do a poo soon anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I just think maybe don't do that again.
Well, taste test, someone has to. And you know what?
With potions that are made for drinking, sure, but even then, iffy. But it's more the fact, what if you'd done that and it turns out to be a deadly poison?
Well, I'll tell you now, Brandon, but my family, we've been brewers for generations. And my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather before him, It's some of the best ales this world, and these continents have ever seen. And they made these through taste testing. I aim to, continue that on. I mean, they may
I
have
will
died.
not stop you. I will not stop you.
No, they may have both died in like the 50s, but what's besides the point?
This isn't. Oh goodness me!
How about this? Durgus? We're going to start your learning with reading.
Can you say that again? You kind of had a bit of a snatch when you were talking there.
Why don't we start your learning with reading?
I said, come on. We got so much time. I don't know, let's huddle around here talking about it. And with that, I'm happy to move to where we tell you the list of stuff we do.
Yeah. As we go to that, with an agreement that Durgus is finally going to learn to read or something, we can jump to what everyone's kind of doing. So, over the course of obviously what is a 6-day journey, there is obviously plenty of time for you guys to complete a number of different tasks. So, if I just grab my super futuristic pen and pencil. Somewhere around in my desk at some point. That'll do. Okay. So, could you just run me through, please, Durgus, what you are doing with your 6 days?
Obviously, he's going to be healing and recovering. He's going to try and learn to read better and write better with the help of Baron.
Okay.
He's also going to set up his brewing equipment. Maybe just get it sort of bubbling, maybe filter out some salt and some water from just the bucket of seawater or something. Go to his grudge book, in which he'd write a few names, which I will send to you personally.
Like a death note, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what else. Oh, that's it. He's going to actually unload some of his items.
Okay.
That being the large curled ram-like horn, the Anna Noam statuette, and the petrified rats, which he's going to set it up as trophies in the captain's thing, for trying to fix the damaged skinless drum by trying his best to sort of cure and peel the 3 times hides he has to see if he can repair it.
Okay, so for anything you want to unload and leave on the ship, there is, under the player handouts, there is a section called Party Loot that you should be able to edit. So feel free, this is for anyone, if you intend to unload things or leave stuff on the ship, please do use the Party Loot thing for that. I don't need you to, it doesn't need to look very professional, but it might just be a nice place for you to keep a list of things that it doesn't count towards your weight in your sheet.
Okay, nice.
With regards to setting up your brewing equipment and just distilling water from salt water, that I don't really require any checks for that. That is absolutely fine. So in the captain's quarters, there will be set up in one corner, maybe on a desk. You will have your brewer's supplies set up and working away to basically just get some clean water out of salt water. Obviously creating many crusty bits of salt for you to do with as you please. With regards to the resting and recuperating, over the 6 days you will find that your skin does begin to grow back slowly. You're obviously very, very sore and everything is very, very delicate. You have that kind of patches of pink new skin like a baby. And additionally, your hearing in one ear is not going to come back. If you are not having anyone work on that specifically. Someone else will need to take...
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it happens. That's fine. The drum... Do you have leatherworking tools?
I don't think he does.
Do you have a proficiency with leatherworking tools?
Where do I see this? I have...
Under your skills and proficiencies
I have
in the front.
Smiths, Brewers, and Masons, so I do not.
Okay, that's fine. So, could you give me a wisdom check at disadvantage, please?
Oh my god.
6. You ruin one of the skins. It is not pretty. You have seen, I believe, Baron do something similar to this. And you're a hunter. You hunt things. You're wise, you think. You can surely copy what this big, burly huntsman does. And you can, just very badly. And you end up actually destroying one of the skins as you try and scrape it clean of the gunk and the nastiness and get it ready to be stretched out over the drum. The drum itself... you basically don't work on because you can't get the skin, at least in this time, to a position where you could actually use it to create a new skin over the drum. So I need you to lose one of the leathers, and the drum will remain, as of yet, still broken.
That is fine.
I believe that's everything for you there, Durgus?
Yeah, he'd probably also ask someone to check his ear as well. I doubt he'd
Okay.
go the entire time just like
What? Jumping to the next person then, I should work along. Natara, what are you up to for these 6 days?
Well, she's gonna check on Durgus's healing as well, make sure that he's healing correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, throw some more like cure wounds on him,
Okay,
and
perfect.
gonna take some notes.
You're my ear, please, thank you.
You are, you are allowed to, essentially, there will be a number of long rests in here, so you are welcome to spend, those time in those long rests using magic to heal Durgus, and in which case he can repair from his damaged ear without any kind of check.
If Durgus mentioned that he can't hear on one ear, then Natara will see to that.
Okay,
Does
that's
Durgus
fine.
this?
That's fine. Okay, so that's going to happen. Any other things you want to do in these 6 days then?
No, she's just going to take notes in her notebooks.
Just taking notes. Okay, perfect. That makes it super easy for me. Brannon.
Okay, I've got quite a few things actually.
Lay
First
'em on
one,
me.
the easiest one, is he's got 3 scrolls worth of magic ink, and he's going to make 3 more scrolls, if that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
1 of mirror image and 2 of scorching ray.
That's absolutely fine.
Okay, cool. Then he's gonna go up to, obviously help Durgus with the reading, but also while they're doing that, he's gonna give Durgus the big pile of tied up letters he stole from the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all in Draconic and he can't read a goddamn thing.
Absolutely fine. Durgus will have the translated versions of those as you arrive at New Haven.
Okay, cool. And final thing, I'm gonna go check up on our guest.
Yes.
Well, that prisoner we have that we totally
Yes.
remember and isn't starving.
She's not starving.
I've been trying to deal with it, but we keep on doing stuff.
No, she's not starving.
It's going to be the tabaxis all over again. We're going to leave the ship one day. We're never going to come back.
Never change the letter. Yes, okay. Let me just grab my notes for that. Perfect. So that was the scrolls, which obviously we saw too. The letters to Durgus, which you can have the translation for. Durgus will have the translation for by the time you arrive in New Haven. That was then the checking up on the guest, and was there one other thing I missed?
I think that's everything.
Perfect. Okay. In which case, as mentioned before, your prisoner has become something of a free-moving prisoner. She has been allowed to travel around the ship. It's particularly sticking close to Raelith, the wood elf who Rolt is currently seeing. And when you catch her during, one of the long days of sailing, she is up on the top deck, sitting with Raelith towards the front of the ship, just kind of looking out across the open ocean. As you approach, Raelith gives her hand a little squeeze and just mutters quite quietly, I'll just be over there, okay? She gives a little smile and then goes and parks herself somewhere at kind of the side banister next to Rolt, and they seem to share a quiet moment whilst you approach your prisoner, who is dressed now like the robes of the cult, long forgotten, taken away, thrown away, whatever. And she's instead wearing what appear to be probably some spare clothes that were on the ship, or perhaps they're Raelith's, or something else. But it's a very baggy set of trousers, a fairly large tunic with a belt just around the middle to kind of keep it all together. She appears to be going barefoot, and so her feet are kind of scuffed up and dirty, but her hair is pulled back in this very tight knot. These kind of curly bundles of blonde, which she still kind of flicks as if trying to keep it out of her eyes. She looks at you.
Oh, sorry.
Well, she just looks at you kind of with a curious glance, but turns most of her attention just looking out at sea.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm fine. It's been nice, I'll admit, being here on the ship. Head is hurting less.
Eating well, and I'm hoping Raelith's been looking after you.
Yes. Plenty of food.
Good.
Some water when I need it.
Obviously it's been a while since we last spoke, and I'm not going to drill you with questions, don't worry. I just wanted to ask how you're feeling about talking about your past.
She gives a long sigh, as if this was a subject she expected, though still didn't seem super comfortable broaching. Despite this, she exhales and turns to look at you again more properly. Been okay, me? I'm talking a little bit about my past, but I don't know. There are some things she shakes her head and doesn't finish the sentence.
No, I understand, and as I said, I'm not gonna push you. I have my opinions on how you got involved, and we can always come to them later. But either way, let's start with something that might not be too problematic. Where did you grow up?
Little farming community, just outside Merrin. Just didn't really have a name. It was just a little commune. It was family, me, one other family.
And were all of you, your parents, this other family, all members of your religion?
No, I didn't like farming. Never was a farmer girl, me. I always wanted to see the sea. She kind of looks out across the ocean again at that. Yeah, the big open expanse, the rolling of the waves, the smell. We took a holiday to Norcliffe one time. Went to see a tourney up there. Oh, the fights, but nothing compared to the docks. Yeah, I wanted to see the sea. And it was when I was sailing on a boat. Someone handed me, she reaches to her neck and pulls out a small necklace with the kind of flotsam amulet, similar in design to the ones you've seen before. Got one of these. Always amongst the sailors. Talk in the towns. Just fall in with it.
Okay. Obviously, it's, I mean, an amulet and some talk doesn't get you to the point where you were. Did you get recruited or taken somewhere, or did you go somewhere?
It's hard to remember, really. It's all something of a blur. There was a ship, a couple of ships actually. Sailed up to a cove somewhere to the east. And we all gathered around, we tied the ships together, and there was a ceremony and some kind of celebration, a party, if you will. But when that was over, we were told we were part of the Risen. We were serving the people who could hear the whispers from underneath.
Okay. Well, I have. Obviously, I'm guessing you don't know where this cove is, or at least vague at best.
Far to the east. We sailed west again afterwards. Brought us back to more local waters. Stopped at an island. The island we were just at, actually. That was the one we came back to after we were out there. Didn't stay for long.
Brandon's going to lean forward. Is she missing a pinky?
She is not.
Okay. There was something we found on that island. Have you, members of your group, do they normally cut off their fingers?
Only some of the higher priests. People who have been in the cult the longest. It's part of another ritual. I never got to go with it. I wasn't in the group long enough, nor was I, frankly, good enough at remembering my cries.
And it's always the pinky, the little one?
Normally. Sometimes they do other ones. There's not a rule at which one it has to be, just a kind of tradition.
Fair. And final question, then I'll leave you be. You said you went to Langland before.
Whatever island we were just at, yeah.
Langland, yes. What did you have anything to do with the natives there, the kobolds that live there, or were you going somewhere else?
Any kobolds? As I said, I wasn't there for very long, and I had to stay on the ship. But I know some of the people that were with us went ashore. They said they were going to go find something that said it was the chamber of something, the vault of something.
And did some of them come back missing fingers?
Yeah, some of them did. The vault of the native, that was it. They went to
The
find
native?
the vault of the native, to see the shard, they said.
Do you know what the shard is?
Not exactly. There was talk of them in Maelstrom.
Well, thank you. And if you can think up anything of that shard that might be helpful, I'd really appreciate it. Meanwhile, while I'm here, before I leave you, is there anything I can get you that will make your trip easier?
No. I'm on the seat. That's nice enough. Getting fed, water. It's alright for now. Just worry about the future, you know?
What about your family? Would you like me to send word to them?
No, I haven't spoken to them for years. No good doing so now.
Very well. And he'll stand up and give her a brief nod and go, I'll leave you be then, and leave her.
Yeah, and she goes back to staring out to sea. Which brings us round to Geronimo. Plans for those 6 days.
Okay, so Geronimo is going to be fixing up the bunk bed to make sure, because now he knows that there's a crack that some sort of weird black disc got in there. He wants to try and make the bed in a much better place, almost kind of grander and more sort of like structured and rigid and better.
Okay.
He's then going to fix the top half of the ship that got busted up by the explosive arrow. And then he's going to spend his time trying to tame a Wadger and become Wadger's best friend.
So, we're fixing the bed, we're fixing up after the explosive arrow, and we're trying to tame a Wadger.
Yeah, trying to tame the Wadger.
Okay. Give me a intelligence check with the... Well, it's basically intelligence saving throw, because you're doing it with the woodcarter's tools, which obviously you have proficiency in.
So, 7 through.
It's basically the same roll.
Nice. 11.
An 11? You start working on at least the sections that aren't so pretty. And certainly the bunk bed is no fine piece of furniture ready for a palace by the time you're finished. But you put together some kind of pastes, mixing sawdust in with some kind of glues and stuff like that, as well as replacing some of the weaker and more rickety looking sections of the bed, so that by the time the end of the 6 days comes around, the bed is looking fairly solid. You've sanded it down, you made it look nice. It looks like a serviceable piece of furniture that will hold together, and certainly doesn't appear to have any kind of damage or weather where someone might try to sneak something into. However, as I mentioned, it's still probably a long way to go before you have a fine bed fit for a pair of captains, or a captain and his first mate, depending on who's in earshot.
Yep, that's fair enough.
With regards to the ship itself, I'm not even going to need to require a roll here. As mentioned, the fire wasn't allowed to burn for long. You guys reacted pretty quickly, and the wood is naturally quite wet anyway, because of being in the water. And so it was kind of fairly simple work of taking off some of the charred wood, checking the wood underneath, and putting some reinforcement here and there. But for the most part, the ship was mostly fine. So that was barely any work. Wadger is a different story, and I'm going to need an animal handling check for Wadger.
Hell yeah. All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Oh! 15.
15 is pretty good. Wadger responds positively. You've done a little bit of work with Wadger before, and you've realised that he is quite food-oriented. He seems to respond well to treats as rewards, namely kind of fruits and things like that. Specifically, lots of the more... kind of apple-y, pears, kind of those tree fruits. He seems to respond quite well to those. And by the time the 6 days are up, you are pretty confident that whilst Wadger is probably not going to be carrying you into battle anytime soon, you don't think you can quite overcome that level of survival that is still innate into his mind. If you were to use him, say, as just a riding Wadger, that would probably be fine. He seems willing enough to let you onto his back. You're fairly small. He definitely can hold you up, and he seems to respond fairly well to the few basic commands you've been able to teach him, such as to come, such as to go, such as to stop, such as to lower himself down, things like that.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
Yeah, and as those 6 days come to an end, we arrive at New Haven. The journey has been obviously quite busy for some of you, though for the rest of you, you've been basically resting and preparing for this momentous occasion. New Haven itself is the first and kind of grandest colonial attempts that came out of the Mid and Fair Republic, and still functions very, very well as a industrial and trading community. Anyone from Mid and Fair, this would be all of you, would be aware of New Haven, treated almost as, maybe not a Shangri-La, but as the closest to a new world that people, or regular people, get to. The city sits on a fairly wide, muddy bank. Nearby, fertile fields spread all around it. It is a small entrepot with a much larger kind of collection of houses and huts around the outside. A small oval stone wall and a few watchtowers, part of the original stonework when it was established, now since well burst over by the rapidly increasing population. And so most people appear to live outside of the city, in an assortment of tenements and houses. Everything appears to have been designed with utility and space in mind. Most buildings are 2, if not 3 stories tall, and everything appears quite narrowly pushed together. However, there are a few buildings that stand starkly as being of older and more grander construction. The docks bulge out into the sea with this constant, if slightly sedentary, thrum of naval traffic, suggesting the town is still very much active, if perhaps not prolific. Coming into dock, you join a small queue of ships waiting to be assigned a jetty, and you are quickly directed to one of your own, where, once again, attended by dock workers, your ship is pulled in, tied up, and you are approached by the classic customs officer as your landing plank, or your gangplank, is lowered down. A fairly diminutive gnome is standing with a quite fanciful tall hat on the top of his head. He's chewing on the end of his quill as he looks up at whoever steps off the ship first.
Brandon, who has been waiting to arrive to make sure that nothing goes wrong with the paperwork again, will immediately trot down towards him.
Oh, hi. This your ship?
No, I guess you could call it the quartermaster. Captain's that one. And he points to the dwarf.
I do you want the bloody license?
That would be excellent. Have you got one?
I've got it all here, gathered it all for you, and he hands over the paperwork.
Oh, perfect. Where did you get this from? He says this before he looks at the paperwork.
It's all sorted out in Farrick.
Oh, excellent. We like their work. He takes a quick look over, checks the licenses, looks up at you, nods his head slowly. This looks outstanding. Do you mind if I just take some notes quickly? He doesn't wait for an answer. He's already taking notes down on a ledger that he has written out, copying out some of the codes and stuff that are written down.
Of course, yes. What notes do you need to take?
Just a record of your arrival.
Okay.
Then we note when you arrived. We'll note when you leave. We note the captain. That sort of thing. Nothing else. He goes through.
By the way,
of all those who come in here.
Say that again?
Do you keep logs of all those who come in here?
Of the ships, yeah.
is that public information?
Don't know. I've never been asked the question before. You could check with my boss.
Hey, if you could point us his way, you see, we're looking for a bit of a wanted fugitive. Did some nasty things in another town.
No kidding. Oh, well, sure. He turns towards the kind of line of buildings sitting just by the jetty. You see the small office over there? Yeah, that's the harbour master's office. If you go in there and ask for Vargo, he'll get to you.
Perfect.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Not a problem. And we're just going to say this all looks in order. There you go. Then he just offers the paperwork back.
Oh, thank you very much. Is there no fee for staying or anything?
No, all part of the licenses you signed in Farrick. The fees go through to them, and they sort it out with whatever dealings you have with them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
And Brandon's going to head towards the harbour master.
Also, just briefly, before I forget, Durgus, you were able to translate those letters.
Nice.
And the letters that were stolen from Lord Darrick are mixed reading. Firstly, there are a lot of notes about essentially economic matters, selling of goods, materials, produce to communities around this rough area. A few of the names you recognise, you've got Badgerton, you've got Houndford. It's trade with individuals there and how they're going to get the stuff over there. Basic fare of what appears to be a kind of landed nobility. However, in amongst there, you find odd, much smaller letters that refer to having guests and putting up certain friends of the family and admitting those who know about certain things. Real double speak of people that he doesn't seem to give any details about. Just things like, we will receive you in the following week. We hope you bring the gifts. And things like that. Very odd communications. Doesn't seem to indicate who it's from or where or why. But, something perhaps to tickle the old concern bone. Meanwhile...
sorry, go ahead.
I'll say, obviously, you're just approaching the Harbour Master's office. Around you, there is the kind of thrum up of hustle and bustle as you begin to join the crowds of traders, of sailors, of merchants, of all sorts of people that come and go around the docks. Entering the kind of compound of the Harbour Masters, if you will, you are directed to a small office where a clerk is sitting behind a desk and quickly scratching away at a small tablet. He looks up to see kind of the group of you arriving, adjusts his glasses slightly. Yes?
Hello, we're looking for, I think it was Varric?
Vargo?
Vargo, sorry, yes, Vargo.
Vargo's indisposed at the moment. He's off dealing with something with the council. Is that something I can help you with?
Possibly. We've just come ashore, and we were talking to one of the harbour masters, and they mentioned that you take notes on everyone that arrives.
On the ships, yes.
Well, we're investigating a bit of a crime that happened up in Badgerton, and we've been following a fugitive, and we're wondering if he's come here. We're trying to get some information.
Did he captain a ship?
No, he probably... Actually, Durgus, you probably know more about this.
Well, we know he came across here. We don't know if he used his first name, but he was probably some passenger of sorts. Goes by the name of Spine.
The clerk holds up a hand to stop you. I would love to help you. The knowledge is public. However, if they were a passenger, we won't have log of their entry. The only records we keep of the ships that arrive and of the captain of those ships. And also any trading vessels we take notes of particular cargoes if they intend to sell and trade at a certain volume.
Would you know which vessels came in with passengers, even if you didn't know who?
Unless they were some of the immigrant ships that we get from time to time, but even then we don't get the names, we just get numbers.
No, that's fine.
I swear we were told the type of ship it was.
Well, that's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we were told about the ship that would possibly carry Aurelio?
Yeah, you were told it was a regular hauler ship that basically carried large amounts of cargo between Farrick, Peak, Langland, and New Haven.
Oh, shit.
Do you
Did you date when it left?
At this point, it would be about a month ago that it left Farrick.
Geronimo would kind of ease his way into towards Durgus and kind of whisper him to go, "Hey, Captain, if memory serves me right, which it usually tends to do, it was a hauler that kind of moved between Farrick, was it Peak and New Haven, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, between Farrick, Peak, New Haven, and would it probably be about a month ago that it left Farrick, so... if you can...
Well, we've been told he bundled on board a hauler. Travels between, Farrick, Peak, and here. Probably arrived maybe a month or so ago. I don't know how many of these you get, but...
Fairly regular. One every month to 2 months. You said they were a passenger on a hauler?
Aye.
They don't often leave with passengers, so if they did arrive here, they probably haven't left. But unfortunately, we don't keep the passenger logs for those ships, though we are more concerned with the cargo they bring in, since they normally bring in industrial amounts of goods.
Well, can you tell us the name of the captain at least?
Of which ship?
We
have a number of haulers.
The latest one would probably be, or the latest two. Let's start there.
Latest two. He begins to work back through his notes for a second, before running his hand down to one line, and then bringing his other hand down to another one. Lornav Forgrog, Oravar Oraban Biros Enedon.
Can I kindly request the DM put those names in chat?
He shows you the notes in the book, which read as follows. Forgrog, Oravar Oraban Biros Enedon.
That second one is just atrocious.
He's definitely an elf. He's definitely an elf.
100%. Brandon will take notes of the names and then quickly turn to the others and go, I mean, it might not be these two, but it's a good start.
Alright, let's say we just don't bump into him. He was hoping he's still here. And I guess, thank you. And he sort of nods towards the sort of port attendee.
No problem.
Oh, and just before we go, where could we find a good drink?
A good drink? It's a particular type you'd like to hold of, but how much money have you got to spend?
A reasonable amount.
Salt on the Breeze isn't bad. Nor's the Swinging Hammock.
Salt on the Breeze. That sounds good. We'll head there. Thank you for your time.
No problem. He gives a little nod of his head, and obviously you depart. And actually, as you do, she'll move us over to the city map.
Ooh.
Stream. Yeah, so it's got the label stuff in as well. Okay. There we go. Got it. Okay, so this is New Haven.
Nice.
Yeah. So, stepping back out of the Harbour Master's office, you are once again returned to the crowd. The smell of sweaty people hard at work, the sound of jingling coins falling into pockets, and the call of what seems to be a place in fairly good spirits. People seem positive, people seem happy. There isn't the same sense of anxiety that you had perhaps in Farrick, though there is a level of busyness that obviously was never present around Langland. What are you doing?
Then we're going to go Salt on the Breeze, I think.
Yeah.
Where are we at the minute, D?
You are kind of here-ish.
I think we're at D's, actually.
D's.
D's what, bro?
D's nuts.
You got me. No, you're kind of just above where it's marked B, kind of one of these jetties up here, and I have reactivated the pinging, so you can do that. So it's a quick walk, not too far towards the kind of town square, off of which you can see the very large establishment marked quite clearly as Salt on the Breeze. It appears to be the largest social enterprise in New Haven, occupying this double freestanding block, pretty much in the centre of the old town. It is mostly made out of stone, and all across it has been decorated with this kind of weird assortment of ship parts, all of which have sails attached, and so manage to catch some of the wind and are almost constantly billowing in this very ugly yet very distinctive display of nautical prowess. The doors and windows are all thrown wide open, and you can see this constant movement of people in and out as tables are taken, tables are left, people bring drinks to them, food is brought out by waiting staff. Just this general continual hubbub of commerce over food and free time. Are you just going to go find yourself a table where you can order some drinks?
Yeah, I think Durgus would sort of gesture towards just towards the sort of beep it in. You lot go get yourselves a table. I mean, it was good. Brandon, come with me. We'll go ask the bartender some questions.
Brandon appears unresponsive.
I'll come with you, Captain.
Sorry, I didn't actually hear that.
He basically asked for you to come with. But you know what? Fuck it, we'll all go. Yeah, so he basically makes his way over towards the bartender. Sort of hopping up on a stool.
Yeah, standing behind the bar, there would be a tabaxi with this kind of shiny chestnut fur and these bright yellow eyes. As you get closer, he peers up, having just taken an order, quickly takes this small piece of parchment that he was writing, stabs it through a nail behind him, then turns back to face you and kind of places his paws either side of him in a very reassuring bartender pose. Hey, yeah, what can I get you?
Hey, well, what ales do you have?
Ales? I don't do too many ales. What particular kind's your favourite?
Deep, stouty, dwarven, particularly.
Stouty dwarven. Not a huge number of dwarves out here. We got some stuff we bring over from Middenfair if you want it.
Hey, I'll point to that if you want.
And Torfag's brew?
Sorry, what was that?
Torfag's brew. You had it before?
Would you have heard of Torfang's brew before?
I've done. It's up to you, dude. It's not particularly plot relevant. I'll let you riff here.
I don't know. It seemed very, very niche. I can't tell when you make up stuff on the spot.
I'm making stuff up on the spot.
Wait, a bit of a rival brand, but you know what's good.
Oh, no, not a problem. No, I'll get you some of that. So we've got a Torfags. He gives a little scribble in. Kind of, you can see what he's writing, and it's clearly this work shorthand. It literally looks like almost chicken scratching. But he's quickly very able to take down an order, and before he looks at the next person. And what about the rest of you?
Do you have any whiskey?
Whiskey? Oh, I see. A man of culture. Yeah, we got a couple. What do you want? Someone older or a little younger?
Younger's fine.
Younger's fine. I don't know what I said was funny, but we'll come to you next, buddy. He scratches down something else before turning to Geronimo. And you, yes, little man, what do you want?
Then I will have the same thing, because I am also a man of culture.
Oh, that's what I like to hear. Okay, so another one of those. And yes, milady, he says, giving a little chuckle before. What can I get you?
Right, some beer would be all right. Just the local.
Just a local? Oh, we got a wonderful beer. We got some Eastern Brew. It's nice. Good stuff. Okay, so get those. Scratch that in. Anything else? Any food?
I don't think we're eating, are we?
Maybe not food, but okay, I know it's not sort of meant to give the stuff away, but you said there aren't many dwarves around here. Have you seen, of those who do come in, a sort of older fella, grey, sort of white beard, maybe goes by the name of Spine?
Oh, there was a Spine. Not too long ago, actually. Yeah, no, I remember him because he came in and got into a fight with his lass.
His
was it a gnome?
It was a gnome, actually, yeah. Now that you mention it. Yeah, no, now that you mention it, it was a gnome. They came in a week, maybe 2 ago? No, probably just a week.
Just a week? I think they haven't come in since.
No, they got into a big fight just outside. They sat down, came in, ordered some drinks and some food, and just before we got the food out to them, they had some screaming row. They were arguing about how they got here. She was going on about wasting so many months of her life. He was going on about her staying calm and kicking up a scene and all that, usual stuff. They almost threw punches, but the guard came in and split him up. I think they took him away, and I think she got a job upstairs.
She got a what upstairs?
Oh, you're not local?
No.
Job upstairs is a euphemism.
You're some sort of harlot.
That's not the term we use, but if you want to see her working, you got to come back tonight.
And with the guard, if we were to try and talk to him, I'm guessing go to like a town hall?
Town hall?
Barracks, probably.
Well, we got the Occupal. up that way. He kind of points to the north, and you can see a fairly large, traditional-looking crenellated castle. Though rather than like catapults and guards around the top, it mostly has been adorned with banners and things like that. Got the Occupal, if you want to go up to there. Otherwise, there is a guard post just outside the main gate.
I think the Occupal is probably our best bet. Well, thank you.
It's not a problem. Sure you can't get any food? He gives it away.
No. Well, how much is it all?
What, for all of this? Oh, tell you what, you've been nice folk. I'll do it for 5 silvers.
Brandon will give him 8 silvers.
You're mighty kind. Those 3 for myself, I think. He tucks the 3 into a pocket on his jacket and places the other 5 kind of rattling down. Which table are you at? That one there? He points to the one that you were going to.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I'll get that right over. I'll get that right over to you. You sit down, get in the sun, get some breeze. I'll be right over.
I think Durgus at that would sort of hop off the stool, rub his hands together quite happily as he makes his way over to the table. Well, I'm glad we finally got to the blighter. Let's just assume he's, bloody around still.
Well, I mean, if he's dead, can't we just show her the body?
There may be some issues, taking a body, into the next spot, but we'll manage.
What about the gnome? Do we tell her? Do we even talk to her?
I think we'll need to ask her. I mean, she probably knows where he is, or at least hopefully she does.
Well, it sounds like he's in jail.
Well, if he gets into a brawl, they may separate them, but you won't jail him for a week.
No, give him a slap on the wrist. Say, don't do that again, dumbass.
That's fair. Well, yeah, I guess we've got some work to do, but...
Aye, but, well, here, admittedly, well, it depends if you want to wait around or go to his barracks, but, so I wouldn't mind buying some hops.
I don't mind putting some money towards that.
Aye, in an alchemist case, it would be pretty nice to have.
Plus, if you get it good, and by the sounds of it, you know what you're doing, it might be a good money-making scheme.
Oh, aye, it could.
And if not, I mean, if we can always invest in some spuds if they grow them near here, I mean, make that stuff into some sort of potato vodka, and it's pretty good for medicine.
As you're having this conversation, just briefly, the Tabaxi makes his way over with a platter of the drinks, placing one out in front of you. Yeah, in front of each of you. He gives a nod again, and before turning and leaving.
Just before he leaves, Brandon will kind of tap him on the shoulder. Actually, excuse me, just one moment.
Yeah, what's up?
If I was to try and buy and sell some magical equipment, is there anywhere licensed in town?
Barley's ain't so bad.
Barley's? Is that like a general store?
Yeah, Barley's bits and bobs. She trades mostly pretty much everything. Suppose, depending on what you're trying to sell, the ironmongers might pick up anything you've got that's, metal in basis, but they're kind of weird folks, so if you're going to go deal with them, just go in with an open mind. They're not like, crazy, they're not going to stab you or nothing, but they're just a bit odd. Not really meant for strange company. They kind of keep to themselves.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll make sure to go to Bolly's and maybe the Ironmongers.
Yeah, not a problem.
Well, do you want to go talk to the Occupal and get some information on our man, or do you want me to come with you?
We may as well all go together. I mean, if you need to sell some things and I to buy some things, we may as well go to the market at the same time.
True. I'm just trying to get some money. I've got these left, and he pulls out the 5 scrolls. I think I've got maybe 200 gold here.
200?
300?
From
maybe.
subscribing some paper.
Well, I mean, it is magical.
Aye, well, money's money. I'm thankful for it, and hopefully if I get my brew going, we'll be able to make a bit more. But still, should we, have these head to this Oki whatever, question the guards, then head to the market, and hopefully, by then we should be able to let's have a chat with this gnome lass.
Yeah, to the Occupal it is, and Brandon will quickly drink his drink.
Well, actually, since we've just gone past 11, what I'll say is we shall end with, you know, if this was a film, we'd be zooming out on you guys sharing a drink, having just agreed to your plan, and then we'd be fading to black. As I think we bring the session to a close. So we shall kick off the next session with our venture into the Occupal, before exploring the rest of New Haven and seeing what it has to offer. Okay?
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, so for after session stuff, as always, we're going to look firstly at bonds. Does anyone feel they've resolved any? Because there was a little bit of roleplay here.
Let's have a check.
My reading one. Let's have a look. Because if it's short term, then it's... Yeah, it's a short term one. I think Durgus has started. I assume they're probably going to continue. Yeah, continue working at it. It goes along, but they've definitely got into the gist of it now. Surely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm not entirely sure, but maybe my long-term one.
Where's our long term?
Because I've been slowly talking more with Durgus and helping him learn to read and stuff, so I don't know if it's really accurate for me to be scared of him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I could definitely accept that, and I think you've had that one for a little while, so yeah.
Yeah, I've had that since
I think I think you're at the point now where Durgus is no longer a feared element, so are you happy with that, Durgus?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Cool. So I can count that one as cleared. Perfect. Anyone else feel that they've resolved any of their bonds?
I don't think mine have been updated, to be fair, so...
I'm adding yours in literally now as we go. I know I've had a narrative and a short term. I don't know if I got a long term.
I think I need to do a long-term one.
Okay, that's fine. Yours are getting added literally as you look at them.
Oof.
And that one's about Natara. Perfect. Okay. We should get those updated to the stream by next week. That's perfect there. We don't feel like there's any more done. Excellent. Then I think, as sessions go, we are finished for tonight. So
Thank you, Alex.
that's all right. So obviously for everyone who is still viewing and with us, thank you obviously for sticking around and giving us a little watch. We love the attention because we're egomaniacs. But we're going to go pass on that attention to some other lovely people. So let's see if we can find some more interesting D&D channels that we like.
I found one with kind of cool art.
Oh, we like cool art.
I'll put it in the mod chat quick. There you go.
Let me see this. Adjusts glasses. Oh. Okay. Okay. Whereabouts are we finding them? Are they above us or below us? That's the important
They are
question.
below us.
Oh, they're below us. I don't know, the art is pretty
Keeper
cool.
of Kitsune.
Keeper of Kitsune. I don't know, the art is pretty cool. What are they doing? D&D Aluna Knights? That's not too bad.
I think
That
it's
sounds
just like a
homebrew. That sounds homebrew. We like homebrew. Hands get the Flammenwerfer.
Wait, what?
There's one that's called Hans Get the Flammenwerfer Aventuri Picasso, Rhyme of the Frost Maiden. I don't think it's English, so unfortunately.
Well, let's just do Keeper of Kitsune.
Yeah, we want to do that one? Okay.
Yeah, fuck it.
Let's do it. Right. Again, we're going to have my ugly typing on the stream.
You're so ugly. So ugly.
Oh,
Stop
you're so ugly.
So ugly. Such an ugly boy.
I hate this and I want it to stop right now. There we go. We're ready up our little raid. Please do join the raid. Please do say some things. And please do obviously share some love and give them a follow if you like them. Because, you know, D&D's a little community. There's only, 13,000 people on right now. And 12,000 of them are with Arcadum. So there's not a lot that run around. So it's good to share each other.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. And we shall see you all again next week. Bye-bye for now.
Ta-ta.
Bye.